Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Fantasy. My background is hundreds of millions of points strong. Chapter 61. Sigh, sometimes I don't know if we, with our Lu family's background, could be able to give birth to a genius like you. Lu Chengsheng couldn't help but sigh, and Lu Juyuan just smiled and shook his head. Ancestor, since I, Lu Juyuan, was born in the Lu family, I am a member of the Lu family. My strength is not due to luck, but my talent is a little better than ordinary people. By the way, did you really comprehend the Hongmeng sword intent just now? Lu Chengsheng asked curiously again, just wanting to confirm. Lu Juyuan didn't say anything, he just stretched out his hand, and a sword spirit full of ancient aura suddenly emerged in his hand. At this point, the three of them were convinced that what Lu Juyuan understood was Hongmeng sword intent. Lu Chengsheng explained with a solemn expression. Juyuan, if you have no choice, you'd better not use this Hongmeng sword intent. After all, the water in it is too deep and you can't control it. After hearing what Lu Chengsheng said, Lu Juyuan sneered and said domineeringly. Ancestor, don't worry, I, Lu Juyuan, was born to be invincible in my life. I was born with an invincible Taoist heart. If I am afraid of this immortal sovereign, I am afraid it will have an impact on my cultivation. Furthermore, with my current talent, I dare to say that I will definitely become an immortal sovereign-level giant within 10,000 years. By then, I will not be afraid of even the Hongmeng immortal sovereign. Lu Juyuan's words shocked the three of them again, and Qin Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. Little friend Lu, immortal sovereign masters are not as simple as you say. As far as I know, the fastest breakthrough to immortal sovereign in the entire Emperor Zan continent took 1,000,000 years. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan just smiled and did not recall. There are some things that it is useless to talk about. Just let time prove it. Moreover, Lu Juyuan is convinced that within 100 years, his background will probably be invincible. At that time, I don't need to come forward, my background can settle everything in the Emperor Zan continent. Okay, now that everything has been settled, let's go back first. Lu Chengsheng shook his head helplessly. Is he too arrogant and domineering as a junior? But if he is not arrogant and domineering, what kind of genius is he? Can he be regarded as the sixth child? But at this time, Lu Juyuan remembered something and shook his head helplessly. Ancestor, the 100 Kingdoms competition is not over yet. I still have to go to the royal family. Okay, but when you are outside, no matter what situation you encounter, you must reveal my ancestor's amnesty. Don't risk your life. Lu Chengsheng explained with a serious face. These words made Lu Juyuan feel warm in his heart. It was because of his family. Yes, ancestor, Lu Juyuan agreed respectfully, and when he finished speaking, Lu Chengsheng's body turned into a magic weapon and merged into Lu Juyuan's body again. At this time, Qin Yuan naturally knew that he had to please Lu Juyuan in front of him. Thinking of this, Qin Yuan gritted his teeth, took out a purple token from his body, and handed it into Lu Juyuan's hand. Master Lu, this token is the VIP token of my Tianling auction house. You only need to hold this token and come to my Tianling auction house to buy things, and the price will be 30% off. This is already the best thing he can come up with. This is not good. Lu Juyuan didn't know the value of this token, but he still smiled and put it into the storage ring, while the 1,000 Ghost King looked surprised. You must know that there are 4 levels of VIP tokens in Tianling auction house. They are bronze VIP tokens, which can enjoy a 10% discount in Tianling auction house, then silver, which can enjoy a 15% discount, then gold, which can enjoy a 20% discount, and then the most advanced purple gold VIP tokens, which can enjoy a 10% discount, 30% off. There's nothing wrong with it. I can only say that this thing is destined to be with little friend Lu. Also, if little friend Lu is free, please help me with the business of Tianling auction house. Qin Yuan smiled and said, and then left here with the excuse that the Tianling auction house still had things to deal with. After he left, Lu Juyuan gave 1,000 Ghost King a look. 1,000 Ghost King immediately understood and immediately led Lu Juyuan towards the royal family of Yuanwu Kingdom quickly. At the same time, deep in the royal forbidden area of Yuanwu Kingdom, under the guidance of Lu Changsheng and the help of Lu Juyuan, Li Xuanren and the national beast of Yuanwu Kingdom, the sky-swallowing python, were currently in seclusion to attack the Mahayana stage. I saw that the aura on Li Xuanren's body was extremely terrifying, and the imperial aura was constantly washing through Li Xuanren's body. Next to him was the sky-swallowing python. The whole python was curled up on everything. Although the aura on its body came and went, it was always on the edge of becoming stronger. But at this moment, the sound of a bottleneck breaking was heard from the bodies of one person and one python at the same time, and the sky above Yuanwu Kingdom, which was still sunny, suddenly became gloomy, with a strong pressure. It swept over everyone, making them almost unable to lift their heads. Many strong men from the Yuanwu Kingdom raised their heads in surprise and looked at the sky, only to see terrifying thunder tribulations constantly forming in the sky of the Yuanwu Kingdom. After seeing this scene, the residents of Yuanwu Kingdom couldn't understand that this was a strong man who was coming out of their Yuanwu Kingdom on the Mahayana stage. Thinking of this, many people became excited. After all, a strong person from the Mahayana stage appeared, which meant that their Yuanwu Kingdom would become a fourth-rate force from now on. After seeing this scene, the faces of the Chen family and Chen Shuimu became extremely ugly. Obviously, that direction was the direction of the Li family. Did Li Xuanren actually break through to the Mahayana stage? I just hope he can be killed by thunder tribulation, otherwise, our Chen family will suffer. Chen Shuimu said with an ugly expression. After all, the Chen family and the Li family have never dealt with each other, and now Chen Fengli has been killed. If Li Xuanren breaks through to the Mahayana stage, he may directly attack the Chen family. Many other powerful people who were spying on the leader of the Yuanwu Kingdom became even more grim after seeing this scene. After all, Li Xuanren's breakthrough to the Mahayana stage meant that their chances of success were getting slimmer. On the other side, Lu Juyuan and the Thousand Ghost King had also arrived at the edge of Yuanwu Kingdom at this time. After seeing this scene, Lu Juyuan said with some surprise, "Wang Li actually broke through to the Mahayana stage. This is really a gratifying thing." The Thousand Ghost King shook his head and said, "King Li will not do transcending tribulation here in Yuanwu Kingdom. He should go to other places for transcending tribulation. After all, transcending tribulation here will cause too much damage to Yuanwu Kingdom." As the Thousand Ghost King finished speaking, Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python, who were deep in the palace, flew into the sky together and rushed towards the distance. "Let's go and take a look." Lu Juyuan became a little interested at this time and said quickly, and the Thousand Ghost King would naturally not refuse. After all, observing the Mahayana thunder tribulation would also be helpful for him to break through to the Mahayana stage in the future. The King of Thousand Ghosts was not the only one who had the same idea. At the same time, in the demonic forest in the north of Yuanwu Kingdom, the Zhang man who was retreating suddenly felt something. His face was full of surprise and he looked at the King of Yuanwu Kingdom. "All this aura, is that guy Li Xuanren breaking through to the Mahayana stage?" "No, I'm going to have a look." After saying that, the sword breaker hurried towards the transcending tribulation place where Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python were in the distance. At the sword immortal sect, Xie Zhanxian, who was in retreat, felt something. His face was full of surprise and he opened his eyes and looked at the thunder tribulation in the distance. "This aura, is Li Xuanren breaking through to the Mahayana stage?" After saying that, Xie Zhanxian hurriedly rushed towards the distance. In the Tyrant sect, the leader of the Tyrant sect, the Berserker, opened his eyes and looked into the distance. "Has fellow Taoist Li broken through to the Mahayana stage? It seems it's time to go out for a walk. After all, the people from fellow Taoist Li gave me a genius some time ago." After saying this, the Berserker fell down and disappeared into the secret room. Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python on the other side quickly flew to the ruins of Yumamen after leaving the capital of Yuanwu Kingdom. Because they were destroyed by Lu Changsheng, no one dared to establish a sect here, so they used its perfect to come to transcending tribulation. Sky-swallowing python, everything that happens next depends on your own destiny. After Li Xuanren said that, he came to a position relatively far away from the sky-swallowing python. After all, if the two monks transcended tribulation together, it would only increase the power of thunder tribulation a lot. Apart from this, there is no benefit at all. Of course, unless a very few fools want to temper their body, they will do this, but they are still a very small number of existences. It's just a pity that Li Xuanren is not this kind of existence. As Li Xuanren and sky-swallowing python completely separated, many transcending tribulation stage bosses gathered around them to observe. After all, if nothing unexpected happens, sooner or later there will be a chance to become Mahayana stage. Observing the birth of a Mahayana monk will be of great help to their future transcending tribulation. Did you not expect that I, Li Xuanren, would break through to the Mahayana stage so quickly? Although I had expected it, I was still a little excited during the transcending tribulation. Li Xuanren looked at the thunder tribulation brewing in the sky with an indifferent expression, smiled and shook his head. As his words fell, a terrifying thunder tribulation also fell. Phew, we finally arrived. When Li Xuanren started transcending tribulation, Lu Juyuan finally arrived belatedly. After arriving, Lu Juyuan and the Thousand Ghost King immediately began to observe. After all, Mahayana will not take long for Lu Juyuan, and as for the Thousand Ghost King, with the help of Lu Chengsheng, he has enough confidence to hit the late stage of transcending tribulation within 100 years, and reach the peak of transcending tribulation within 1,000 years, and strive to reach the peak of transcending tribulation before 10,000 years breakthrough to Mahayana stage. Boom! I saw a huge thunder and lightning blasting towards Li Xuanren, but Li Xuanren did not panic at all. He saw Li Xuanren chop his foot in the air, and a golden imperial aura burst out from Li Xuanren's body, blocking the way on him. Every emperor can mobilize the country's destiny, commonly known as the imperial aura, and as the country continues to grow stronger, the imperial aura will become more terrifying. This is why countless aristocratic families want to have a glimpse of the emperor's position. After all, it will also improve their strength a lot. The terrifying thunder tribulation then hit the imperial aura, but was firmly blocked by the imperial aura and had no impact at all. Li Xuanren didn't change his expression. After all, this scene had been expected by him. On the contrary, the sky-swallowing python on the other side was struck by the thunder tribulation. However, the sky-swallowing python did not avoid it at all. When the thunder tribulation was about to hit, it calmly opened its big mouth and opened the terrifying mouth. Swallow thunder tribulation in one gulp. The sky-swallowing python and the ancient divine beasts Teoti and the chaos beast are known as the most edible beasts in the Emperor's Zon continent. They can basically increase their strength through devouring them, and the sky-swallowing python is no exception. After the terrifying thunder tribulation was swallowed by the sky-swallowing python, only blue thunder and lightning could be seen constantly surrounding the appearance of the sky-swallowing python, but the sky-swallowing python did not show any change in its expression. Obviously, this little bit of thunder and lightning has no effect on the appearance of the sky-swallowing python. It's nothing to him. Hiss, it is indeed a sky-swallowing python. It can't even deal with the catastrophe. The sword breaker couldn't help but gasp after seeing this scene. It was obvious that the power of the sky-swallowing python had shocked him, let alone Li Xuanren, who could suppress the sky-swallowing python on the other side. Under the terrifying bombardment of Mahayana thunder tribulation, only a few cracks burst out on the shield formed by the chi of the emperor. After seeing this scene, Li Xuanren was extremely decisive and gave up the protection of the chi of the emperor. The next second, a sword filled with terrifying aura appeared in Li Xuanren's hand. That is the most precious treasure of the Yuanwu kingdom, the Xuanyuan divine sword. Xie Zhanxian said with some surprise after seeing this scene, because the Xuanyuan divine sword is of extremely high grade, and even vaguely has the illusion of becoming an immortal weapon, and a weapon of this level is called a semi-immortal weapon. Something's wrong. Li Xuanren took out Xuanyuan divine sword under such circumstances. Could it be that he wanted to use the power of thunder tribulation to completely transform Xuanyuan divine sword and promote it to immortal weapon? The berserker said with some surprise, "You must know that it is the immortal weapon." With the immortal weapon in hand, even the monks in the fusion stage can fight across the levels and defeat the monks in the transcending tribulation stage. Amid everyone's speculation, Li Xuanren was seen throwing the Xuanyuan divine sword in his hand without hesitation, and the Xuanyuan divine sword flew straight into the air under Li Xuanyuan's control, while the surrounding thunder tribulation wanted to chop it down, but it was absorbed into it by Xuanyuan divine sword. What? Xuanyuan divine sword actually has the effect of absorbing thunder tribulation. The surrounding transcending tribulation stage monks couldn't help but be surprised after seeing it, but what no one noticed was that after seeing the terrifying thunder punishment, Lu Juyuan on the side flashed a thoughtful look in his eyes. Expression, and then the whole person sat down cross-legged, and a mysterious aura filled the air. On the other side, Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python are still in transcending tribulation. As the aura of one person and one python continues to strengthen, this means that the two are about to successfully transcending tribulation, break through to Mahayana, and officially become immortals. At the same time, the King of Thousand Ghosts on the side noticed Lu Juyuan's abnormality, and his face couldn't help but be shocked. What kind of monster is the young master? Can you still understand things by looking at other people's transcending tribulation? But complaints were complaints, and the Thousand Ghost King still took action to block Lu Juyuan's aura of enlightenment, lest anyone see this scene and destroy Lu Juyuan's opportunity. It's just thunder tribulation. What can you do to me? Break it for me. Human sovereign chop. Li Xuanren looked at the sky with war intent, and then slashed out with his sword. The terrifying sword energy carried the supreme imperial energy and blasted directly towards the robbery cloud. Of course, this scene also made many transcending tribulation stage experts. They were all shocked. Has Li Xuanren always been so brave? You know, it was thunder tribulation. But he didn't say anything. After all, Li Xuanren's strength was there, and it was really not impossible to split the calamity cloud. I saw Li Xuanren's sword falling, and the terrifying sword energy immediately cut the thunder tribulation into two pieces. After blocking the thunder tribulation, the terrifying sword energy then slashed towards the calamity cloud in the sky, directly destroying the robbery cloud. After destroying the robbery cloud, a burst of golden light shone out from the void and shot directly at Li Xuanren. Li Xuanren's aura at this time also officially announced that Li Xuanren had broken through to the Mahayana stage. The sky-swallowing python on the other side successfully advanced to the Mahayana stage by devouring thunder tribulation. After seeing that both Li Xuanren and sky-swallowing python were promoted to the Mahayana stage, all the major transcending tribulation stages present came to Li Xuanren to congratulate them. Congratulations to King Li on your successful promotion to Mahayana stage. Congratulations to King Li on your successful promotion to Mahayana stage. Congratulations to King Li on your successful promotion to Mahayana stage. Hearing their compliments, Li Xuanren couldn't help but smile, and then said seriously. It's just a coincidence. With your talents, if nothing happens, you will definitely be able to break through to the Mahayana stage. Then let me borrow the auspicious words from King Li. The sword breaker and the others smiled and said, if nothing happens, I will go back first. The sky-swallowing python said calmly that it didn't like this kind of situation very much, and then rushed back towards the forbidden area of Yuanwu Kingdom. It still liked the cold pool. When Li Xuanren saw this, he just shook his head helplessly. He and the sky-swallowing python only had a contractual relationship. In a strict sense, he could not restrain the sky-swallowing python. Just when he was about to say something, he felt something and looked into the distance with a surprised look. I saw bursts of thunder and lightning emerging from the void in the distance, each with a permeating aura, but in the eyes of their transcending tribulation stage, it was nothing more than that. Is this someone's sudden enlightenment on the thunder method? The sword breaker said in surprise after seeing this scene, while the Thousand Ghost King blocked the space where Lu Juyuan had his epiphany, and looked at the sword breaker and the others indifferently. Naturally, Jgn Ren and others also knew the Thousand Ghost King. It was no exaggeration to say that among them, the Thousand Ghost King's strength was definitely considered to be at the upper level. Everyone, my young master is comprehending the situation in front of me. Please leave. The King of Thousand Ghosts said coldly, as if he should not approach strangers. After hearing the words of the King of Thousand Ghosts, their faces could not help but be shocked. Obviously, they could not imagine who could bring the King of Thousand Ghosts to him. Tamed for one's own use. But it is obvious that no matter what, the existence behind the Thousand Ghost King must be very terrifying. Thinking of this, the sword breaker and others did not dare to step forward, but Li Xuanren smiled because he had already recognized Lu Juyuan's breath. Lu Juyuan could understand such a terrifying thunder method, which was of great benefit to him without any harm. At this time, Lu Juyuan was immersed in his own space of understanding, and what appeared in his eyes was a desolate ancient world. In the ancient world, there was a terrifying giant with a naked upper body and a purple thunder in his hand. The giant threw the thunder in his hand and completely destroyed the world in an instant. 9 Heaven's Thunder Method. When the giant threw the thunder, the information about this move also appeared in Lu Juyuan's mind, and he was extremely easy to master. After mastering the Juxiao Thunder technique, Lu Juyuan slowly opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, a bolt of lightning flashed through Lu Juyuan's eyes, and at the same time there was a burst of thunder. The wave swept towards the surrounding area. But the bosses of the Transcending Tribulation stage didn't even have to block, as attacks of this level wouldn't be able to break his defense. Seeing the 1000 Ghost King standing in front of him, Lu Juyuan just smiled and stood up. Qiongui, just leave this to me. Lu Juyuan said calmly, and following his order, the 1000 Ghost King also disappeared into the void, secretly protecting Lu Juyuan. After seeing Lu Juyuan, they couldn't help but be surprised, because they could feel that although Lu Juyuan in front of them was at the pinnacle of foundation building, his background was not weaker than that of a gold core monk. Thinking of this, they couldn't help but move, wanting to take Lu Juyuan under their command, but they didn't expect that Li Xuanren would step forward the next second. Little friend Lu, I didn't expect that you would suddenly realize such a terrifying thunder method. Li Xuanren stood up and said sincerely that even he rarely encountered epiphanies, but he did not expect that Lu Juyuan actually had 2 epiphanies in such a short period of time. Note: last time, Li Qingping told Li Xuanren the process of Lu Juyuan's sudden enlightenment and creation of martial arts. Uncle Li, it's just luck. Lu Juyuan smiled and said, while the berserker on the other side asked curiously. Li, fellow Taoist, who is this little friend? The surrounding Transcending Tribulation stage people all cast curious glances. After all, Lu Juyuan could allow the 1000 Ghost King to protect him personally, and the forces behind him would definitely not be too weak. Stop your thoughts. All I can say is that the forces behind Lu Xiaoyu are something that even I cannot afford to offend now. Li Xuanren said calmly, and his words made the berserker and others take a breath of air. You must know that Li Xuanren is now a Mahayana stage, and with the help of the sky-swallowing python, I am afraid that Mahayana may not be able to be them in the future. The 2 rivals. But Li Xuanren, who was like this, actually said that he was not the opponent of the forces behind Lu Juyuan, which showed that Lu Juyuan's origin was absolutely terrifying. Thinking of this, they all couldn't help but want to have a good relationship with Lu Juyuan, but they didn't expect that Li Xuanren would speak the next second. Little friend Lu, let's go. There are some things I need to tell you about the 100 Kingdoms competition. Well, let's go, Lu Juyuan said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, but Li Xuanren just waved his hand and disappeared with Lu Juyuan, which made the surrounding Transcending Tribulation stage experts feel annoyed. They would have spoken first if they had known better. After Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python left, there was no need for them to stay any longer, and they all left here quickly. But at the same time, something else happened outside Tianling Prefecture. Lu Shixian, you have killed so many powerful men from our Phaegian sect, do you really want to die together? On top of the ruins, a middle-aged man looked at a figure in front of him ferociously, his eyes full of anger, and it was clear from the aura on his body that the other person's cultivation was actually that of a celestial immortal. Bye. The Lu Shixian he was talking about looked at the other party calmly and said, perish together. Do you, Phaegian sect, have this ability? Moreover, you, Phaegian sect, were the ones who caused this incident first, so please, all of you, Phaegian sect, get on the road. Supreme Immortal and Demon Slayer. Thinking of something, Lu Shixian's face also became angry. The next second, he slashed down with all his strength with his sword. This monstrous sword seemed to carry the power of world destruction and fell towards Phaejonman. After feeling the power of this sword, Qianjian Celestial Immortal, the master of Phaegian sect, said with fear on his face. Activate the sect protecting formation. The elders of Phaejonman did not hesitate, because they could all feel the terrifying power of this sword, and the next second a huge light curtain surrounded Phaejonman. Lu Shixian's sword also fell. Boom. After the Supreme Immortal Demon Slash and the Phaegian sect protector formation collided, terrifying energy fluctuations swept towards the surroundings, and all places affected by the aftermath were destroyed. Under the full output of Phaegian sect's protective formation, Supreme Immortal and Demon Slash was actually blocked. Seeing this scene, Thousand Swords Celestial Immortal laughed. Lu Shixian, there is nothing you can do to my Phaeacian sect, so you should leave quickly and let it go. Facing this scene, Lu Shixian didn't change his expression at all, and just said lightly, "Oh, are you sure? Since one sword can't break it, then one more sword, 10 swords, or 100 swords. I don't believe your Phaeacianman can still block it." After Lu Shixian said this, he did not wait for Qianjian Celestial Immortal to react, and then swung 3 swords cleanly. The power of the 3 swords was not inferior to the previous one. After seeing this scene, Celestial Immortal's face became ugly. They had used all their strength to block the previous sword, let alone 3 swords like this. But if you don't block it, you will definitely die. Thinking of this, Qianjian Celestial Immortal spurted out a mouthful of essence and blood, pouring into the sect-protecting formation, increasing the power of the sect-protecting formation. Everyone, go all out and don't be stingy. If the sect-protecting formation is broken, we will definitely die. After hearing Qianjian Celestial Immortal's words, the elders of the entire Phaeacian sect also spurted out a mouthful of blood to increase the power of the sect-protecting formation. Suddenly, the light blue light above the sect-protecting formation also deepened a bit, and its power reached its peak at this time. The next second, the Supreme Immortal Demon Slash collided with the Protector's formation, and its terrifying power could be felt by thousands of dynasties in the surrounding area. Great Zhou Divine Sovereign Dynasty. That position is Phaeacianman. I didn't expect that someone could force Phaeacianman to be in such a panic. I'm afraid his strength should not be underestimated. Chen Zhansheng, the emperor of the Great Zhou Divine Sovereign Dynasty, looked at the position of Phaeacian sect. His face looked extremely solemn. You must know that his cultivation level is only the peak of Earth Immortal, so naturally he would not dare to provoke Phaeacian sect. Hiss, with this wave of fluctuation, the strength of the person who takes action has reached at least high-level Celestial Immortal. Now Phaeacianman may be in danger. As the mortal enemy of Phaeacian sect, Bawang sect is naturally happy to see this scene. If Phaeacian sect is destroyed, then Bawang sect can take the opportunity to rise and become bigger and stronger. In the Phaeacian sect, I saw 3 Supreme Immortal and Demon Slashes falling. Even though 1,000 swords, Celestial Immortal and others sprayed blood to strengthen the formation, they were still unable to withstand these 3 swords. I saw cracks secretly appearing on the light curtain of the sect-protecting formation, and soon spread. No, seeing this scene, Qianjian Celestial Immortal was horrified, and the next second the sect-protecting formation shattered, and the Supreme Immortal Demon Slash fell into the Phaeacian gate. The terrifying power instantly killed all the monks below the Celestial Immortal stage in Phaeacian sect, leaving only Qianjian Celestial Immortal alone. Why do you want to do such a cruel thing? Aren't you afraid of being entangled in karma? Even if he did not die on the spot, the situation of Qianjian Celestial Immortal is still not optimistic, at least like a candle shaking in the cold wind, he is about to die. Faced with Qianjian Celestial Immortal's doubts and curses, Lu Shixian just gave him a look. When you chose to protect the person who killed my disciple, you should have been prepared to have your family wiped out by me. As for the karma of cause and effect, I am invincible, so what will happen if the karma of cause and effect adds to my body? Lu Shixian said calmly, and a burst of arrogance followed, making Qianjian Celestial Immortal laugh involuntarily. Ha ha ha, okay, I see. If that's the case, I'm really looking forward to seeing you again. After saying that, Qianjian Celestial Immortal died, and his whole body also turned into a burst of powder and disappeared, completely falling. After completely destroying the Phaeacian sect, Lu Shixian sighed completely and looked around aimlessly. I've been away from my hometown for so long. It's time to go back to the Lu family and have a look. I wonder what our Lu family has become like. Speaking of the Lu family, Lu Shixian's eyes were full of melancholy, and then he disappeared, and the direction he was heading towards was Tianling Prefecture. Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know yet, but he already had a Celestial Immortal ancestor on his way back. At this time, he had followed Li Xuanren back to the palace. After the palace, Lu Juyuan also saw Li Qingping with an excited face. But unlike himself, Li Qingping's cultivation had been completely stable at the early stage of Gold Core. Obviously, with the help of one of his rabbit legs, Li Qingping's great progress. After seeing his daughter's expression, Li Xuanren couldn't help but sigh. It seemed that his daughter and Lu Juyuan had to be together, but fortunately, Lu Juyuan's family was stronger than his own, and the Li family was not considered a loser. Unfortunately, Li Xuanren felt a headache just thinking about his daughter's engagement. At this moment, Lu Juyuan spoke. Uncle Li, is the 100 Kingdoms competition about to begin? Yes, because of the failure in the last 100 Nations competition, we need to go through strict screening and select suitable candidates to participate in the 100 Nations competition this time. Li Xuanren thought of the last 100 Kingdoms competition and couldn't help but sigh and said, and Lu Juyuan couldn't help but become curious after hearing this. Did our Yuanwu kingdom lose miserably in the last 100 Kingdoms competition? After all, things like the 100 Kingdoms competition were not something that the original Lu Juyuan could know about. Li Xuanren just shook his head and then looked at Lu Juyuan. Well, it's okay to tell you that in the last 100 Kingdoms competition, our Yuanwu kingdom sent out 2 gold core peaks and 3 gold core late stages, but I didn't expect that they didn't even make it into the top 10, and they all died tragically on the spot. Quote. At this point, Li Xuanren's face also became angry. Those are the future of his Yuanwu kingdom. If they are still alive, I am afraid they are already in the Yuan Ying stage. What Lu Juyuan cared about was not what happened on the spot, but whether they could kill someone in the 100 Kingdoms competition. Facing Lu Juyuan's doubts, Li Xuanren said calmly. That's natural. In the 100 Kingdoms competition, as long as you don't shout out to surrender, you will basically fight to the death, and the referee will not interfere. Why, are you afraid? Afraid? I, Lu Juyuan, have never known what it means to be afraid. If you don't want to die, then I will kill you as fast as you can. Lu Juyuan smiled and shook his head. The invincible Taoist heart in his body also affected Li Xuanren. Ever since Lu Juyuan transmigrated to the Emperor Zan continent, he had never been defeated. He didn't believe that those natives could still be his opponents. Not successful. If he could still lose with the support of Hongmeng Sword Intention, Juxiao Thunder Technique and such a powerful foundation, Lu Juyuan might have to consider transmigrating again. Ha ha ha, okay, if that's the case, then regarding the quota this time, I will hold a competition in the capital in 3 days. Anyone who can win the top 5 will go to the 100 Nations competition. Li Xuanren was affected and laughed. 3 days, that's enough. Lu Juyuan thought of something and murmured, then stood up and said goodbye. In that case, I will naturally go to participate in the competition in 3 days. Goodbye, Uncle Li. Okay, Qingping, please send Juyuan off. Li Xuanren looked at Li Qingping who was standing on the side and said. Okay, I get it now. Li Qingping showed a smile on her face, said repeatedly, and then sent Lu Juyuan to the palace. Are you sure this time? Li Qingping hesitated, and then asked worriedly. After all, as far as she knew, there were many powerful geniuses at the peak of gold core going there this time, and several of them were even invincible at the same level, and could even kill the terrifying ones at the nascent soul stage. Exist. Ha ha ha, under the age of 30, I am invincible. Lu Juyuan didn't say much, but laughed loudly. Feeling Lu Juyuan's invincible Taoist heart, Li Qingping couldn't help but froze in her heart. Yes, it seems that no one can achieve Lu Juyuan's current achievements before the age of 30, and Lu Juyuan seems to be only 25 years old this year. But soon Li Qingping thought of something again, and her heart was even more shocked. It was that Lu Juyuan seemed to have been practicing seriously for only 2 months. 2 months ago, Lu Juyuan was just a mortal in the body refining period. Thinking of this, Li Qingping couldn't help but take a breath of air. If that's the case, then you must be careful. After all, we don't know if there will be any terrifying monsters in other dynasties. Li Qingping could only remind that no one in Yuanwu Kingdom was Lu Juyuan's opponent. The only ones who could be called opponents by Lu Juyuan were probably geniuses outside Yuanwu Kingdom. That's natural. If nothing happens, I will go back first. Lu Juyuan smiled and then bowed. Li Qingping was about to say something, but Lu Juyuan had already turned around and left. He could only swallow what he wanted to say. What they didn't notice was that Li Xuanren and Li Azure Emperor were standing high in the palace watching this scene happen. Father, do you really want to bring Qingping and brother Lu together? Li Azure Emperor asked curiously, but Li Xuanren just looked at Li Azure Emperor with a solemn expression. Third brother, you should know that the current situation of our Yuanwu Kingdom is no longer optimistic. Other dynasties are constantly putting pressure on our Yuanwu kingdom. Your second brother and eldest brother have already gone to the border to guard. Now, I am afraid that only by marrying the Lu family can our Yuanwu kingdom survive this battle. The eldest prince Li Qingshan and the second prince Li Qingfeng are the real geniuses. They broke through to the integration stage when they were only 1,000 years old. Not long ago, they were sent to the border to participate in the war launched by the Huhuang kingdom in the north. There is an unwritten rule among dynasties, that is, monks above the transcending tribulation stage are not allowed to take action. Otherwise, everyone will stop playing. You send out one transcending tribulation stage, and I send out two transcending tribulation stages. One slap, it can kill millions of troops. Hearing his father's words, Li Azure Emperor could only sigh, and Li Xuanren said immediately. Besides, this girl Qingping has a good relationship with this boy Juyuan. They are both talented and beautiful, so marriage is not a bad idea. I will not sacrifice Qingping's happiness. I will only consider marriage if Qingping agrees. Quote, if that's the case, then let's follow father's instructions. Li Azure Emperor also agreed. After getting along with each other for this period of time, he could see that Li Qingping really liked Lu Juyuan, and he had already recognized Lu Juyuan's character. Although his strength is relatively weak, his advantage lies in his youth. If Lu Juyuan is given a little time, I am afraid that Lu Juyuan's talent will shock everyone. But at this moment, Li Azure Emperor remembered something and asked curiously. Father, do you think Lu Juyuan can go to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition this time? As far as I know, it seems that there are no less than 10 gold core peaks coming this time, and Lu Juyuan is only the foundation building peak. Hearing Li Azure Emperor's concerns, Li Xuanren just smiled. What, do you think Lu Xiaoyu's strength can be measured by realm? Just wait, I guess Lu Xiaoyu can give us a big surprise then. I still need to retreat to stabilize my realm, so I'll leave the quota matter to you. After Li Xuanren said that, he turned around and went to the cave mansion to retreat and stabilize his state. When he came out of the retreat, it was time to go to the 100 Kingdoms competition. It seems that Brother Lu's strength cannot be measured by realm. Li Azure Emperor thought of something, smiled bitterly and murmured. With his strength, he could naturally feel it. Although Lu Juyuan was at the peak of foundation building, spicy rabbits cooked at random could help him improve his strength. How could he do it himself? How simple can it be? If that's the case, then it all depends on you, Brother Lu. Li Azure Emperor's face became serious, and then he went down to give instructions about the quota allocation competition. And as the news spread, many geniuses had already arrived in Yuanwu Kingdom. Ha ha ha, this time I will definitely shine in the 100 Kingdoms competition. A loud laugh came from the capital of Yuanwu Kingdom, while Xiaoti stood aside and said helplessly. Senior brother, please keep your voice down. You will be said to be disturbing the people later. Next to Xiao Tai, stood a bald man. After hearing Xiao Tai's words, he lowered his voice. Chen Yuan, you are the genius of our tyrant sect. You will definitely get a good ranking in the 100 Kingdoms competition this time. Pang Tian stood in front of the two of them and said seriously, Chen Yuan was his first disciple, and Li Tai was the second one. Li Tai, although your cultivation level is still low, you should be prepared to follow us to see the 100 Kingdoms competition. It's time for you to go up next time. Well, I understand, Master. Li Tai said seriously, and in just 2 months, under Pang Tian's guidance, Li Tai had already reached the peak of qi refining, and was only one step away from reaching the foundation building stage. The Chen Yuan mentioned by Pang Tian as the genius carefully selected by the tyrant sect. His cultivation is at the peak of gold core, and his strong physical body can even rival those in the nascent soul stage. Li Tai's face was a little curious. He didn't know why the master behaved strangely after he went out and came back that night. At the same time, I thought of Lu Juyuan, and couldn't help but feel nostalgic. I'll wait until my cultivation becomes stronger before going back to find Lu Juyuan. Although Brother Lu can't step into the path of immortality, with his ability, he can find some heavenly materials and earthly treasures that can extend his life and give them to Lu Juyuan. It's not very difficult to use. But what Li Tai didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan had already begun to retreat to the gold core stage. I need to retreat during this period, please remember not to disturb me. Lu Juyuan explained to Long Aoshan and others and hurriedly entered the retreat room. He could feel that his suppression of cultivation had reached its limit. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Long Aoshan's expression couldn't help but become dull. By absorbing dragon blood, his cultivation level had already reached the late gold core stage, but could he still not catch up with Lu Juyuan? You must know that there was a big difference between them at the beginning, but they did not expect that in just over a month, Lu Juyuan's cultivation level would catch up with his own. It was really terrifying. Xiao Huang also looked a little shocked. After all, he had only broken through to the late stage of qi refining during this period. This speed was already very fast among monsters, but he did not expect that Lu Juyuan was much more monster than he imagined. The King of Thousand Ghosts seemed a little numb. After all, Lu Juyuan understood the Hongmeng sword intent and the Nine Heavens thunder technique in just one day. In comparison, breaking through a small realm in a few days seems to be a relatively normal thing. After entering the retreat room Zihong, Lu Juyuan immediately sat down and began to attack the gold core level, and the strange chaos pattern on his body also exuded an extremely ancient and terrifying aura. Brilliant light continued to emanate from Lu Juyuan's body, but Lu Juyuan was completely unaware and was hitting the gold core stage with all his strength. The so-called breakthrough from the foundation building stage to the gold core stage is to condense a gold core on top of one's own Dao foundation, and the grades of the gold core are similar to those of the Dao foundation, from 9th grade to 1st grade, and then to immortal grade gold core, ancient gold core, Hongmeng gold core and finally chaos gold core. Lu Juyuan was seen concentrating all his spiritual power on his dantian, and instantly a small and exquisite gold core appeared in Lu Juyuan's dantian. Although it is small, the terrifying power within it cannot be underestimated. On top of the gorgeous appearance, it exudes a terrifying aura, just like the chaos carried when the world first opened, and this is the chaos gold core. Gold core phase, is it so easy? Seeing this scene, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but be a little surprised. It seemed that it had only been more than an hour since he came in, but soon Lu Juyuan thought of something. Since my whole body is covered with Dao foundation, can I condense gold core anywhere on my body? Lu Juyuan thought of this and couldn't help but feel pleasantly surprised, and immediately began to experiment. Soon, Lu Juyuan condensed a gold core in his arm. This seems feasible, Lu Juyuan thought excitedly. After all, gold core means the storage of spiritual power. If the spiritual power is far higher than that of monks of the same level, even if it is used up, it can kill the enemy. In addition, some terrifying killing moves basically require a lot of spiritual power, so monks with low realms cannot use them. Does this mean that Lu Juyuan can condense more gold core? Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan has been on the way to condense the gold core for the past 3 days and cannot stop at all. Soon, 3 days passed, and in the capital of Yuanwu Kingdom, many talented people who wanted to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition also arrived. Not only because the 100 Kingdoms competition can bring them great fame, but more importantly, because of the rewards Li Xuanren promised them. As long as you can rank among the top 100 in the 100 Kingdoms competition, you will have the opportunity to soak in the ancestral pool. You must know that the ancestral pool is one of the treasures of Yuanwu Kingdom, which can greatly improve the talents of monks. Of course, it is limited to talents below the immortal level. As for Li Qingping at the time, it was because the ancestral pool was ineffective for Li Qingping that it was not used. It seems that many people will come this time. In the capital, a young man looked at the people coming and going on the street with a calm expression, shook his head and said, but he did not feel afraid because of this, but more of aroused fighting spirit. And he is the disciple of the sword breaker, Li Tian, who lives in the sword body, and his current cultivation level has reached the peak of gold core. He has not even used a sword for many years since his debut, and it is said that his sword training has reached its peak. Even Yuanying stage monks may not be his opponent. Soon, Li Tian felt something and looked at a figure on the street. The figure on the street also seemed to feel something and raised his head and looked at Li Tian. It's interesting. I didn't expect that the Sword Immortal sect would actually release their swords. I'm afraid this 100 Kingdoms competition will be a lot of fun to watch. Li Tian shook his head and said, what he saw earlier was the sword of the Sword Immortal sect, Zhang Chengfeng. Both of them are masters of swordsmanship, but they have never fought before. Naturally, they are a little ready to make a move. After all, the masters are sympathetic to each other. Interesting, even that guy Li Tian came to intervene. It seems that this time the 100 Kingdoms competition will not be boring. Zhang Chengfeng shook his head and thought to himself, but did not choose to take action. Although he wanted to compete with Li Tian, he also knew that now that Li Xuanren had broken through to the Mahayana stage, they could not cause trouble in the Yuanwu kingdom. Seeing Zhang Chengfeng leave, Li Tian also shook his head, and then returned to his interest. Tomorrow will be the trial for quota qualifications. In Qingshan Garden, Long Aoshan and others had already gathered in front of the retreat room, because they also knew that the qualifying competition for places in the 100 Nations competition would be held tomorrow, and they couldn't help but become anxious for Lu Juyuan. The boss doesn't know when he will be released from seclusion. If we look at the situation like this, I'm afraid he won't be able to make it in time. Long Aoshan said with some worry, and although Xiao Huang couldn't speak, he could tell that Xiao Huang was very anxious at this time by walking around. As for Lin Zhiling, his face was full of sadness. After all, it was a competition among hundreds of nations. The 1,000 Ghost King didn't say anything. He believed that Lu Juyuan could create miracles. And just as his words fell, the sky above the entire Qingshan Garden also became gloomy. Seeing this scene, Long Aoshan and others couldn't help but feel happy, because this was a symbol of Lu Juyuan's breakthrough to the Gold Core stage. With the appearance of Thunder Tribulation, Lu Juyuan, who was in the retreat room, suddenly opened his eyes. At this time, Lu Juyuan was exuding a terrifying aura, and his whole body was as terrifying as the Supreme from Chaos. It's time, Lu Juyuan said calmly. During these 3 days, he continued to condense gold core everywhere in his body, and in just 3 days, he condensed 999 Chaos Gold Cores. This means that Lu Juyuan's combat power at this time is 999 times that of monks of the same realm. Not to mention that the Chaos Gold Core is the most advanced gold core, and the combat power cannot be discussed with ordinary theories. The next second, Lu Juyuan stood up, and in just a moment, he was above Qingshan Garden. The moment he saw Lu Juyuan appear, Long Aoshan couldn't help but take a breath of air. Now he couldn't even feel what kind of cultivation Lu Juyuan was. You can't just take immortal ascension in one step. Only the 1,000 Ghost King's face was full of solemnity, and he couldn't feel what strength Lu Juyuan had. At this time, Lu Juyuan's body had no aura at all, and was as unfathomable as chaos. But 1,000 Ghost King knew that Lu Juyuan's strength should not have reached the level of immortal ascension. After all, he could still clearly see Lu Juyuan's movement trajectory. However, what surprised the 1,000 Ghost King was that Lu Juyuan had just broken through to the Gold Core stage, and his speed was enough to rival the late Nascent Soul stage. Are you sure this is not a joke? Lu Juyuan was still unaware of this. He raised his head to look at Tianji and shook his head helplessly. I can't let you chop my house down. Lu Juyuan could feel that once the Thunder Tribulation fell, Qingshan Garden might be destroyed instantly. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan just stretched out his hand and summoned the Qingfeng sword. Hongmeng Immortal Ascension. Lu Juyuan said calmly that this sword was a sword move that he learned by the way when he understood Hongmeng's sword intent. It was at the top of the heaven level, so it was enough for the temporary use. It was also because Lu Juyuan had condensed 999 Chaos Gold Cores, otherwise he might not be able to sustain the spiritual energy consumption of Hongmeng Immortal Ascension. Cut. Lu Juyuan was seen applying the terrifying Hongmeng sword intent to the Qingfeng sword, and a burst of ancient and terrifying aura also emanated from the Qingfeng sword. This sword is terrifying, Long Aoshan said solemnly below. He could feel that even if he broke through to the Nascent Soul stage, he might not be able to block this sword, which made him even more shocked by Lu Juyuan's strength. Being able to kill a Nascent Soul level monk at the early stage of Gold Core, what kind of monster is my master? Good guy, even the reincarnation of the Immortal Emperor may not be so terrifying. 1,000 Ghost King couldn't help but gasped after seeing this scene. Long Aoshan couldn't feel it clearly, but he could feel that the power of this sword might not be able to be blocked even by monks in the late Yuan Ying stage. That is to say, only monks at the peak of Nascent Soul can fight Lu Juyuan. After 2.5 seconds of charging, Lu Juyuan lowered his sword, and saw a brilliant and terrifying sword light swung from the Qingfeng sword. This sword seemed to be carrying the power of world destruction, heading towards Thunder Tribulation. Attack! Thunder tribulation. I haven't even started yet. I only saw that the terrifying thunder tribulation became a little pitiful before this sword strike. With just one strike, Lu Juyuan destroyed the thunder tribulation. Seeing this scene, the Thousand Ghost King couldn't help but fell silent, but this was already the second time, so he wasn't too shocked. In addition, he was also a little worried in his heart. Judging from the young master's current talent, I am afraid that it won't be long before the young master no longer needs his protection. After all, when I first saw the young master more than a month ago, the young master was only at the peak of chi refining. After more than a month, it became the gold core stage. Who can accept this? Moreover, it is not an ordinary gold core stage, but a gold core stage that can kill the nascent soul stage. Thinking of this, the Thousand Ghost King becomes more determined to follow Lu Juyuan. Just kidding, following Lu Juyuan means following the future immortal sovereign immortal emperor. After Lu Juyuan slashed Thunder Tribulation with one sword, Thunder Tribulation was about to get angry, but after feeling the blessing of heaven on Lu Juyuan, he still chose to remain silent. After a moment, a dazzling golden light shone on Lu Juyuan, and this was the feedback after transcending tribulation, which was used to help the monks stabilize their realm. But this is nothing more than a drop in the bucket for Lu Juyuan. Is that all? Lu Juyuan said with some disappointment that it would be better for him to practice by himself. But there is no other way. I can't pull Thunder Tribulation out again and beat him up. After the disappearance of Thunder Tribulation, this also completely announced that Lu Juyuan was firmly in the early stage of Gold Core. The next second, Lu Juyuan slowly fell into Qingshan Garden, and Long Aotian and others quickly surrounded him. "Boss, where are you now?" Long Aotian asked quickly. He was eager to know Lu Juyuan's cultivation level now. He couldn't let Lu Juyuan's cultivation level surpass him in 3 days. "Me, Gold Core is in its early stages, what's wrong? Do you want to compete with me?" Lu Juyuan looked at Long Aotian with a half-smile and said. This smile couldn't help but make Long Aotian feel a burst of fear. "I'm kidding, who dares to compete with you? The last time I was punched by you, I was sent hundreds of miles away. This time you have broken through to the Gold Core stage. If you are competing, one punch must not fly 10,000 miles. Young master, what level of Gold Core are you?" At this time, the Thousand Ghost King asked curiously. After all, judging from Lu Juyuan's performance just now, I am afraid that Lu Juyuan's Gold Core must be above the immortal grade Gold Core. "Well, you can see for yourself," Lu Juyuan said lightly, and then a small Gold Core flew out of his body. After feeling the terrifying aura in the Gold Core, and then seeing the luster on the Gold Core, the Thousand Ghost King couldn't help but gasp. A breath of air conditioning. This is Chaos Gold Core. Before the King of Thousand Ghosts spoke, Long Aotian on the side said with a shocked face, "You must know that it is the Chaos Gold Core, and you must know that the monks who have condensed the Chaos Gold Core can already reserve the position of Immortal Emperor in the future, that is, said that Lu Juyuan will definitely become the Immortal Emperor in the future." Everyone present was shocked. Of course, this was just Lu Juyuan revealing a Gold Core in order to keep a low profile. If they knew that he had 999 Chaos Gold Cores, they would probably be shocked. Okay, don't spread today's events. The qualifying competition for quotas has already begun. Come on, Qiongui, take me with you. Lu Juyuan warned. After all, if others know about his talent and dare not provoke him, then how should his background be enhanced? But what makes him more curious is that the last passive should have been triggered. After all, the Holy Thunder Taoist said that he and the Lu family are enemies. Logically speaking, his Lu family should have an ancestor of the human immortal stage. That's right. But before he had time to think about it, Lu Juyuan, led by Thousand Ghost King, flew towards Luo Shengdu, the capital of Yuanwu Kingdom in the distance. At the same time, in Los Santos, under the call of Li Azure Emperor, a huge building has been arranged in an open space, and in the building, there are dozens of arenas, with let the contestants fight. It can withstand attacks at the highest nascent soul stage level. However, according to Li Azure Emperor's estimate, there probably won't be many people participating. After all, they also know that the 100 Kingdoms competition is a disaster, and if they go to participate, they will probably die or be injured. For a little resource, it's totally not worth it. And as the time came to 8 o'clock in the morning, this also meant that the competition for quotas had officially begun. Hey, do you think there will be any good prospects to participate this time? In front of the entrance of the arena, there were 3 nascent soul stage monks, and they were all monks sent by Emperor Li Azure to register the information of the contestants. It is estimated that there are very few. After all the monks sent by our Yuanwu kingdom stayed there last time. I am afraid that this time, it may not be any better. Indeed, other Tianzhou may not value the resources of our Yuanwu kingdom, so it is estimated that very few people will participate this time. Ahem, I'm here to save my life. Just as the 3 nascent soul stage monks were discussing, a faint voice came. The 3 monks quickly raised their heads and looked around, only to see a bald head appearing in front of them. Although the 3 of them were a little surprised, they still registered quickly. What's your name, what kind of cultivation level you have, which force you belong to, and how old are you this year? After all, they need to register clearly, and the 3 monks don't dare to mess around. The bald man said with a smile. My name is Chen Yuan. I am a disciple of the Tyrant sect, with peak gold core cultivation. I am 29 years old this year. Who else could it be if it wasn't Chen Yuan? The faces of the 3 people were full of shock, but they quickly registered and said quickly. Please come in. After all, Chen Yuan is a disciple of the Tyrant sect, especially since he reached the peak of gold core at the age of 29. You must know that they were still at the peak of qi refining at the age of 29. Soon after Chen Yuan entered, they couldn't help but discuss it. They were all extremely curious. The Ba Tian sect was actually willing to let such a genius go to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition. Isn't it afraid that it would be lost somewhere? But a moment later, a cold young man came slowly, and behind him was a long sword. I'm here to compete. Name, cultivation, age, and power. The 3 people did not dare to neglect and asked quickly. Zhang Chengfeng, peak gold core, 29 years old, sword immortal sect. Zhang Chengfeng said calmly, but his ordinary words caused another huge wave in the hearts of the 3 of them. Another gold core peak. Are gold core peaks so worthless these days? And soon after Zhang Chengfeng entered, another young man came over. The moment they saw the young man, they couldn't help but be shocked. Just because this is another peak gold core, who else could it be if he wasn't Li Tian? After Li Tian, many independent cultivators came to sign up one after another, and most of their cultivation levels were in the late gold core stage, and a very few reached the gold core peak. You must know that this is an independent cultivator. They are extremely short of resources on weekdays, but they can accumulate the gold core realm before the age of 30, which shows their high talent. After a long time, I saw a beautiful figure coming to the registration gate with a smile on her face. I saw a girl wearing a pink dress. Her slim figure made people think about it, and there were several looming things on her body that made people wonder. Some thoughts came to mind. Of course, this scene also included 3 nascent soul stage monks. They could not help but look dumbfounded. When the girl came to them, they came back to their senses and asked quickly. Miss, are you here to compete? That's right, I'm here to compete. The girl covered her mouth and smiled, while the 3 nascent soul stage monks quickly asked for the girl's information. My name is Qin Xinyuan. As for her cultivation level, in the later stages of gold core, she was 28 years old. She is a disciple of the Heihuan sect. After the name of the Heihuan sect came out of Qin Xinyuan's mouth, the expressions of the 3 monks became serious. You must know that they were disciples of the Heihuan sect. If you want to have fun with them, be prepared to be sucked clean. After seeing the faces of the 3 nascent soul stage monks lose interest in her, Qin Xinyuan also said with a bored expression. It's really boring. After saying that, Qin Xinyuan walked straight into the arena. His graceful figure made the 3 nascent soul stage monks feel hot, but they could only endure it. After all, the people of the Heihuan sect are trespassing and absorbing essence, and they are similar to succubus-like existences. If they are entangled, they will be guilty. At this moment, a voice came from the side. It seems I'm not late. Who are you? One of the nascent soul stages asked with some surprise. For some reason, they couldn't feel the slightest aura of cultivation from Lu Juyuan's body, and they didn't even know of Lu Juyuan's existence. You're here to compete, aren't you? Lu Juyuan said with a smile. At this time, the 1000 Ghost King was hiding around Lu Juyuan. The three nascent soul stage monks were all shocked after hearing Lu Juyuan's words. Are you here to compete? After all, judging from the current situation, Lu Juyuan was definitely not a mortal. Thinking of this, they quickly asked for Lu Juyuan's information. Lu Juyuan, are you strong? He is in the early stage of gold core. He is 25 years old and comes from the Lu family in Qingfeng town. Lu Juyuan said with a serious face, and when he said this, they were shocked again. Do you call this the initial stage of gold core? The normal initial stage of gold core can make them unable to sense it. This little friend, are you sure you are in the early stage of gold core? The older nascent soul stage monk asked with some surprise. After all, this is the Yuanwu kingdom, especially since His Majesty King Li and the Zhengguo divine beast had broken through to the Mahayana stage some time ago. Naturally no one would dare to make trouble. Oh, is there a problem? After Lu Juyuan said that, he directly revealed a trace of his own aura. It was definitely the early stage of gold core, but why did he always feel that something was wrong? But their duty was to review, so naturally they would not stop Lu Juyuan. Soon Lu Juyuan walked up to the arena. After Lu Juyuan left, their faces were still full of solemnity. After all, Lu Juyuan's origin was definitely not simple. At this moment, one of the nascent soul stage monks exclaimed. I remembered that His Majesty said some time ago that Qingfeng town would be classified as a forbidden area. Doesn't this mean that Qingfeng town is the territory of our Yuanwu kingdom? Hiss, it's so terrifying. I'm afraid this kid has practiced some kind of skill that can hide his own aura, so we haven't detected it. But no matter what, this kid's talent is definitely terrifying. I have a hunch that this time the 100 Kingdoms will be more brilliant than our Yuanwu kingdom. Lu Juyuan didn't know what the three nascent soul stage monks were talking about him at this time. He quickly came to the arena and saw many gold core stage monks around him, all in their 20s. The monks under the gold core stage did not see it. After all, not everyone can cheat like Lu Juyuan. Under normal circumstances, it would be extremely difficult to kill the gold core stage during the foundation establishment stage. I didn't expect that so many geniuses would come to participate this time. It's a bit unexpected. It's just that Brother Lu is in some danger. Standing on a high position, Li Azure Emperor looked at the monks below who were preparing to go and shook his head helplessly and thought, this time the quotas are allocated according to strength, which means that all the contestants need to be gathered together. Together, there will be a big fight, and the 5 people standing at the end are the winners. At this moment, Li Azure Emperor was a little surprised when he saw something, and then walked out quickly. There are so many people. Lu Juyuan looked at the situation around him and said with some surprise that this was the first time he had seen so many gold core periods. This kid is a little weird. As Lu Juyuan appeared, several of the gold core geniuses present looked at Lu Juyuan, their faces full of solemnity. They could feel that Lu Juyuan was definitely very powerful. This is the intuition of the strong and talented. But before they had time to get to know Lu Juyuan, they saw Li Azure Emperor appear in front of Lu Juyuan. Brother Lu, I knew it would definitely come, but I didn't expect that you would break through to the gold core stage so quickly. Li Azure Emperor came to Lu Juyuan and couldn't help but said that he could feel that Lu Juyuan was no longer in the foundation building stage at this time, and the only possibility was to break through to the gold core stage. I came to Los Santos to go to the 100 Kingdoms competition. What would happen if I didn't come? Lu Juyuan shook his head and said that he just wanted to go out to provoke, just to meet more powerful people, and the 100 Kingdoms competition was obviously a good way to do it. Li Azure Emperor just shook his head helplessly. Lu Juyuan's power is obvious to all. The peak of foundation building can show no less strength than the gold core stage, let alone break through to the real gold core stage. It's not convenient to talk here. Anyway, the selection still has a little time to start. Let's talk somewhere else. As Lu Juyuan and Li Azure Emperor left, many geniuses present couldn't help but speculate about Lu Juyuan's origins. Naturally, they knew Li Azure Emperor. The person who could be received by Li Azure Emperor must be a member of the Li family. After all, even Li Azure Emperor did not come out to receive them. Another possibility is that Lu Juyuan comes from a strength that even the Li family is afraid of. It's just that this possibility is very slim. After all, the forces that can make the Li family fearful will not come to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition. But what they didn't expect was that the Lu family's strength really frightened the Li family. It seems that there are many interesting guys besides Zhang Chengfeng this time. Looking at the geniuses in the field, Li Tian shook his head and thought to himself, and Li Tai, who followed Chen Yuan into the field, was also shocked. Am I right? That's Brother Lu, Li Tai said with some disbelief. After all, Lu Juyuan was still a useless person when he left. Why did Inland Juyuan become what he is now so quickly? Chen Yuan on the side heard Li Tai's words and asked in surprise. Junior brother, judging from your tone, it seems that you know the genius just now. After thinking about it, Li Tai shook his head and said. The person just now looks very much like an old friend of mine, but that old friend of mine probably won't appear here. I might have mistaken him. After all, it is impossible to think about it. Even a novel cannot be so absurd. In just 2 months, it can become a gold core level, and it can also make Li Azure Emperor so respectful. Okay, junior brother, please wait below and watch how senior brother and I win the spot. Chen Yuan said with a fighting spirit on his face that the tyrant sect is all a fighting maniac, let alone him. If he doesn't fight for 3 days, he will go to the house to uncover the tiles. Li Tai just shook his head helplessly. There are people outside the world, and there is a sky outside the world. His senior brother is a little arrogant. On the other side, Lu Juyuan had followed Li Azure Emperor to an elegant room at this time. Brother Lu, you really surprised me again. I didn't expect you to break through to the gold core stage so quickly. Li Azure Emperor looked at Lu Juyuan in front of him and said sincerely. If he hadn't been worried about Lu Juyuan's background, he might have been unable to help but dig open Lu Juyuan to see what was inside Lu Juyuan. How could someone be so evil? You must know that it was the gold core stage. Even he only broke through to the gold core stage when he was nearly 40 years old, and he only started to break through after 2.5 months of preparation. As for Lu Juyuan, it seems that he has only been in seclusion for 3 days, and he can also know from Li Qingping's mouth that Lu Juyuan seems to have only been practicing for more than 2 months. In comparison, Li Azure Emperor felt like a waste. It's just a coincidence. When the time comes, I will naturally make a breakthrough. Lu Juyuan said in a low-key manner, but for some reason, his tone made people want to slap him in the face. Resisting the idea of beating Lu Juyuan, Li Azure Emperor took a deep breath and said. Before, I was a little worried about Brother Lu, whether you could win the spot in the 100 Kingdoms competition, but judging from the current situation, I'm afraid I have to worry about them. Even if they don't break through to the gold core stage, they will not be my opponents. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said, this is true. After all, the whole body is covered with Dao Foundation, or Chaos Dao Foundation. How could they be defeated by a group of them at the gold core stage? If he breaks out with all his strength, even if he is in the nascent soul stage, he will definitely not be Lu Juyuan's enemy. Li Azure Emperor Quan thought Lu Juyuan was joking, looked at the time and said quickly. Okay, the time is almost up. Brother Lu, please go up too. I'm going down to preside over it. After all, they are all from the Yuanwu Kingdom, and Emperor Li Azure will naturally not let them mess around, just stop there. After Lu Juyuan said that, he stood up and walked down. At the same time, there are more than 100 gold core monks below. After all, having reached the gold core stage at this age, there is inevitably a little arrogance in the heart, and no one is convinced. Want to prove that he is the real genius. The real geniuses are closing their eyes to rest and prepare for the next battle. After all, they all know that the next step is a big fight, maybe 1 against 1, or 1 against 1 more, so naturally they have to reach the peak of their own state. The next second, a voice came slowly. Everyone here is a genius who plans to represent our Yuanwu Kingdom in the 100 Nations competition. Unfortunately, our Yuanwu Kingdom does not have many quotas, so we have launched a competition for quotas. Everyone present can fight to their heart's content, and the true genius will not fall here. Therefore, the last 5 people standing will get the quota to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition. But we have a point-to-point discussion between us, so don't attack unless necessary. I will block the attack that is enough to kill and eliminate the opponent. Everyone quickly raised their heads. Who else could it be if it wasn't Li Azure Emperor? After hearing Li Azure Emperor's words, the fighting spirit in everyone's hearts also ignited. After all, Emperor Li Azure said that he would stop it, which meant that they could go ahead and do it. They were originally afraid of some powerful geniuses, but now it seems that they can take action with all their strength. And as Li Azure Emperor gave the order, a shock came from the distance the next second, and when he looked again, what was it if it wasn't a giant arena? "Gentlemen, come on to the ring," Emperor Li Azure said lightly, and the gold core monks present looked at each other and hurried towards the ring. The size of the arena is a terrifying dozen square kilometers, and there are runes placed on the arena that are enough to block the attack of nascent soul peak, so there is no need to worry about them destroying the arena. Of course, the current Lu Juyuan makes Li Azure Emperor a little worried. After all, Lu Juyuan's strength cannot be measured by realm, but it is impossible to be so exaggerated that he can defeat the peak of nascent soul with the early stage of gold core, right? Soon, all the gold core monks present entered the ring, and everyone was surprised to see Lu Juyuan appearing in the ring again. You must know that the scene of Li Azure Emperor taking Lu Juyuan away just now shocked them all, let alone Lu Juyuan appearing here now. Doesn't this mean that Lu Juyuan is not even 30 years old? But before they had time to think about it, Emperor Li Azure above the sky spoke. The battle begins. Following Li Azure Emperor's order, the geniuses on the stage immediately started fighting, and the scene seemed extremely chaotic for a while. Someone saw the gold core monk next to him and took action without hesitation. After all, every time he defeated someone, it meant that the chance of getting a spot was slightly greater. Of course, there are also very few monks who have clear goals from the beginning. Zhang Chengfeng, Li Tian, have wanted to learn how to use your sword for a long time. Let's take this opportunity to try it out and see who is stronger. I saw Li Tian coming to Zhang Chengfeng step by step, and Zhang Chengfeng's face was full of fighting spirit and he said solemnly, "If that's the case, then let me see how powerful the sword-breaking man's only disciple is." After the words fell, Zhang Chengfeng drew out the long sword from behind and rushed towards Li Tian without hesitation, and Li Tian also responded to Zhang Chengfeng with great enthusiasm. Boom! The collision between the two people made the gold core monks present couldn't help but be shocked. These two people are definitely the most top-notch existences at the peak of gold core. On the other side, Chen Yuan laughed loudly. "Ha ha ha, I have been waiting for this moment for a long time." After saying that, Chen Yuan's aura surged, and the next second his clothes were torn apart, and the terrifying tendons on his body were also visible. And as Chen Yuan rushed into the crowd, what greeted them was a one-sided massacre. They were not at the same level as Chen Yuan. At the same time, Qin Xinyuan was seen walking among the crowd. "Brother, I'm so pitiful. Why don't you go down on your own and let me win?" Qin Xinyuan said with a pitiful look on his face, and his face was even slightly rosy, which made people excited. In front of Qin Xinyuan, there were several gold core monks. But before Qin Xinyuan's charm, there was no resistance at all. Their faces were covered with clams, they said, "Good," with saliva, and then jumped off the ring. If you want to be eliminated, there is another way, that is, if you leave the ring, you will be eliminated. At this time, Li Azure Emperor stood in the mouth, looking at the prodigies under the ring who were in a big fight, and couldn't help but shake his head. The talent that can break through to the gold core stage before the age of 30 is naturally not much lower. If nothing unexpected happens, one will definitely be able to break through to the soul formation stage or even the void refining stage in the future. It's just that it's obviously not enough to watch above the 100 Kingdoms competition. The geniuses over there are the real geniuses. It is said that the first 100 Kingdoms competition was held 10,000 years ago, and the first place winner at that time had already broken through to human immortal period. How can it be possible if the talent is low? Many people in the ring attracted the attention of Li Azure Emperor. Those two guys actually bumped into each other, but again, they are both swordsmen, so it is natural for them to want to compete with a master of swordsmanship. Seeing Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng in the fierce battle, Li Azure Emperor couldn't help but shook his head. These two guys actually understood the meaning of the sword so quickly and reached the entry level. You must know that it is the sword intention. The sword intent is divided into entry, basic accomplishment, great accomplishment, entry into the micro, ascending to the throne, ultimate, peak, and perfection. Even after comprehending the most initial entry-level sword intent, the combat power can be doubled to a terrifying level. Of course, in addition to the sword intention, there are other meanings, all of which are collectively referred to as artistic conception. Similar to how a spear cultivator can comprehend the spear intention, a sword cultivator can comprehend the Tao intention. Anyway, you only need to know that artistic conception is a plug-in-like existence. As long as you master it, your combat effectiveness will definitely increase linearly. Of course, even a monster of Lu Juyuan's level only reached the level of great accomplishment when he first understood Hongmeng's sword intent. However, considering how evil Lu Juyuan was, it would probably take less than 100 years for him to reach perfect sword intent. Ha ha ha, you are indeed a swordsman wizard. I recognize your strength. After a moment of confrontation between Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng, they both violently retreated behind them. Li Tian laughed and said, expressing his recognition of Zhang Chengfeng, but he was filled with fear in his heart. He is indeed a genius who emerges from the Sword Immortal sect in 10,000 years. You must know that ordinary gold core peak monsters cannot even go out of his hands. 3 rounds, but Zhang Chengfeng was able to fight with him for so long, which is enough to show that Zhang Chengfeng's strength is by no means exaggerated. The same goes for you. I, Zhang Chengfeng, haven't encountered such an interesting opponent in a long time. Zhang Chengfeng said lightly, but there was no change in the expression on his face. He didn't know whether it was because his state of mind had already reached its peak or for other reasons. In that case, why not deal with the rest first, and then see who among us is stronger and who is weaker? Li Tian looked around at this time and saw that there were many talented people around them who were eyeing them. After all, Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng were definitely the strongest among them. If Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng can be eliminated, then they will definitely become famous in one battle and establish themselves as new geniuses. Since Brother Li has spoken, let's just follow what Brother Li said. Besides, I don't like being stared at either. Zhang Chengfeng said calmly, and as Zhang Chengfeng's words remained, the two of them involuntarily attacked the gold core talent present. What? Let's take action. As long as we eliminate them, we can eliminate 2 huge threats. The geniuses all panicked in unison, but how could a pack of wolves be the opponent of the real dragon? In front of Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng, the geniuses present were killed by them like melons and vegetables. Seeing this, Li Azure Emperor could only shake his head helplessly. He could see that most of the geniuses present were no match for Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng, so they could only eliminate the contestants under the attack of Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng. Just bring it out, that's all. At the same time, Lu Juyuan stood at the edge of the ring, his face full of weirdness. For some reason, from the beginning of the battle to now, no one had taken action against him. Am I too strong and they don't dare to take action? Lu Juyuan secretly speculated, but he didn't know that they just wanted to keep Lu Juyuan until the end because Li Azure Emperor took Lu Juyuan away earlier. After all, they can't afford to offend the current Li family, and since Lu Juyuan has not taken the initiative, they will not be looking for trouble. Well, if that's the case, I'll take a little action. After all, it's not good to stand all the time. Lu Juyuan shook his head, and the next second his entire figure disappeared. When Lu Juyuan reappeared, he had already arrived in front of a pair of gold core late-stage players who were fencing. Ahem, you two are a little weak. The 100 Kingdoms competition is too dangerous and not suitable for you, so you two go down. Lu Juyuan felt the cultivation of the two of them, and then said seriously, while one of the sword cultivators with long hair said with disdain, "Who do you think you are? Why?" But before the words could be finished, the next second they saw Lu Juyuan appear in front of them in the blink of an eye, knocking them away with just a wave of his hand. Huo Sao. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said with some dissatisfaction, could his perception be wrong? Li Azure Emperor was stunned in the air. Why did it feel like the two eliminated ones were in the early stages of Gold Core? But knowing that Lu Juyuan was one of his own and could become his brother-in-law, Li Azure Emperor didn't say much or write anything. The movement here also shocked the whole audience. Although the fluctuation of spiritual power caused by Lu Juyuan's action was very small, how could it not attract attention when 2 big living people were shot directly out of the ring like this? Especially the 2 geniuses who were shot out of the ring, their faces full of disbelief and shock. He was able to beat them away but control them not to hurt them. How high did Lu Juyuan control his spiritual power? To what extent? This man is terrifying. Li Tian and Zhang Chengfeng, who were clearing away the waste, couldn't help but stop. Neither of them could feel Lu Juyuan's cultivation level, but they were able to fly away the two geniuses in the late gold core stage. Their cultivation level was at least as high as theirs. The existence of an echelon, or the nascent soul stage. This guy is so powerful, I like him so much. When Chen Yuan looked at Lu Juyuan, the fighting spirit in his body burst out uncontrollably. The tyrant sect's fighting sect lived up to its reputation. On the other side, Qin Xinyuan's face was full of fear. He didn't know him or knew that this meant variables, especially the existence that could be received by Li Azure Emperor would definitely not be easy. If that doesn't work, then you have to use that trick. Qin Xinyuan frowned slightly. Obviously, she also wanted to go to the 100 Kingdoms competition. She had to win the spot this time. What's wrong? Lu Juyuan was a little confused. Why did the fighting stop? But before Lu Juyuan could think about it, he heard a voice coming from among them the next second. Big guy, this one is the strongest, let's eliminate him first. Do you want to join forces to eliminate me first? Lu Juyuan thought with a strange expression, but the next second, overwhelming attacks came towards him. Boom! In a short time, Lu Juyuan was completely covered by the terrifying attack. The terrifying power even made Li Tian and others frown when they saw it. They can easily win one-on-one, but if so many attacks fall together, it will be extremely difficult for them to resist even if they want to. Can that guy block it? Phew, this guy is so terrifying. We must eliminate him first so that we can have a chance to go to the 100 Kingdoms competition. One of the late gold core monks breathed a sigh of relief after seeing this scene and said slowly. They are extremely interested in the rewards of the 100 Kingdoms competition, so they all want to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition, but they forget that there are many monsters in the 100 Kingdoms competition. Just when they all thought that Lu Juyuan would be eliminated by this blow, a sigh came from the sparks generated by the explosion. Oh, you are so powerful that you almost destroyed my clothes. Hearing this voice, everyone looked towards the center of the ring in disbelief, and saw a figure slowly walking out of the raging fire, looking so elegant, even the clothes on his body were not touched. Destroy it. What? How is that possible? The monks who took action just now said in disbelief, but the next second, Lu Juyuan showed his white teeth and smiled. You guys have taken action, now it's my turn. The next second, a feeling of death directly enveloped the hearts of the gold core monks present. Before they could react, Lu Juyuan appeared in front of them. With just one palm, a gold core monk was sent flying away. Before the other monks could react, Lu Juyuan disappeared and appeared again. Each shot sent a gold core monk flying away, but they didn't even have the slightest resistance, or didn't even have a chance to react. In just 10 seconds, all the monks who had taken action earlier were shot out of the ring by Lu Juyuan, which meant that they were all eliminated. After Lu Juyuan took action, there were only 6 monks left on the stage. Who wants to take action next? Lu Juyuan looked at Li Tian and others with a smile. Li Tian and others were already shocked at this time. This guy must be in the nascent soul stage. Otherwise, how could he kill so many gold core monks so easily? Just kidding, how could anyone dare to take action against Lu Juyuan now? After all, there are only 6 monks left in the arena plus Lu Juyuan, which means that only one more monk needs to be eliminated to end the battle. But at this moment, a shy voice came from the side. This little brother, you are so handsome. Can I get to know you? This guy actually takes action now. Li Tian and others looked aside in disbelief, seeing who else it could be if it wasn't Qin Xinyuan. I saw Qin Xinyuan looking at Lu Juyuan with a seductive look on his face. Every move he made carried the power of charm. If it was an ordinary gold core in its early stage, Qin Xinyuan would have been controlled by Qin Xinyuan long ago. It's just a pity that Lu Juyuan is not an ordinary gold core early stage player. Furthermore, Qin Xinyuan planned to control Lu Juyuan and eliminate the others. After all, she knew that if Lu Juyuan did not take action, others would probably take action against her, so she chose to strike first. It's just that she overestimated herself and underestimated Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan frowned slightly, thinking to himself what this woman was doing. In Lu Juyuan's eyes, Qin Xinyuan's appearance was just average. He only relied on his charm skills to be ranked among the late gold core. Then he felt that Qin Xinyuan seemed to be the weakest among the monks around him. Thinking of ending the battle quickly, Lu Juyuan disappeared in the blink of an eye. When Qin Xinyuan appeared, he had already been slapped and flew out of the ring. What? This guy has such terrifying speed. It wasn't until Qin Xinyuan appeared outside the ring that Li Tian and others reacted. Doesn't this mean that if Lu Juyuan takes action, they also have no power to fight back? The most sluggish one was Qin Xinyuan. How could this guy be possible? You must know that even a strong man in the early stage of nascent soul would have some heartbeats when facing her charm. How could he be completely calm? Is this guy a straight man? But what Qin Xinyuan didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan was really a straight man, otherwise, he would have been with Li Qingping long ago. Another extremely important point is that Lu Juyuan's powerful background not only improves his cultivation level, but also the strength of his soul far exceeds that of monks in the same realm, and is enough to rival the strong ones in the early stage of nascent soul. Okay, the places for this 100 nations competition have been allocated. Everyone who has been eliminated, please go back. Li Azure Emperor appeared on the ring at this time, looked at the geniuses around him who were knocked away by Lu Juyuan, shook his head and said, although they have good talents, they are still far behind in events like the 100 Kingdoms competition. Although everyone was unwilling to do so, they looked at the existence on the stage. It seemed that they could not defeat any of them, so they could only leave in frustration. When leaving, Qin Xinyuan just glanced at Lu Juyuan coldly, wanting to write down Lu Juyuan, but he didn't know why. After they all left, Li Azure Emperor looked at them and said slowly, "My father will leave seclusion in 3 days, and the 100 Kingdoms competition will begin in 5 days. At that time, my father will take you to Tianquan Kingdom to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition." Emperor Li Azure's words made them nod involuntarily. The Tianquan Kingdom is a top-notch fourth-rate force with the peak of human immortal. It is only one step away from being promoted to a third-rate force. Okay, come and gather here in 3 days. You can leave now. After speaking, Li Azure Emperor planned to take Lu Juyuan away, but Li Tian and others stopped Lu Juyuan at this time. This fellow Taoist, don't know how to call me. They came to Lu Juyuan with solemn faces and said hello. Obviously, Lu Juyuan's strong strength made them want to make friends. To be able to achieve such terrifying strength before the age of 30, his future achievements must be limitless. As for me, just call me Lu Juyuan. Don't hit someone with a smiling face unless they are your enemies. They didn't take action against Lu Juyuan in the ring just now. Lu Juyuan would naturally not ignore them. If he went to the 100 Kingdoms competition again, he would inevitably have to deal with these guys. It would be best to get to know them now. Lu Juyuan, everyone murmured thoughtfully. It was obvious that their brains were spinning rapidly at this time, and they wanted to think about whether there was any big force named Lu in Tianling province. But after thinking about it for a moment, there was not even one. If nothing happens, I'll leave. See you in 3 days. After Lu Juyuan said that, he disappeared, leaving only Li Tian and others with solemn faces. After all, they did not believe that Lu Juyuan had no background behind him. This kind of genius did not seem to be wild. This son must be friends with me. After Lu Juyuan left, Li Tian and others made up their minds. How long would it be before they hugged each other now? And they can feel that if Lu Juyuan attacks with all his strength, even the real nascent soul stage will not be Lu Juyuan's opponent. Lu Juyuan on the other side didn't know what they were thinking. At this time, he had followed Li Azure Emperor to the palace. Brother Lu, your strength is truly unprecedented. There is no limit to your future achievements. Li Azure Emperor said sincerely that this was the truth. He had never seen a talent like Lu Juyuan who could display such strength in the early stages of Gold Core. You probably didn't call me here to talk about these things. Lu Juyuan smiled and said. After hearing this, Li Azure Emperor's face became serious and he said seriously. I forgot to tell you, Brother Lu, about something before, and that was the reward for the 100 Kingdoms competition. Oh, what reward? Lu Juyuan really didn't know this, and this was the first time he heard about it. After Li Azure Emperor spoke, his inner curiosity was suddenly aroused. Although the Hundred Kingdoms competition is known as a friendly competition, Tianquan Kingdom knows that it is impossible for everyone to participate enthusiastically, so Tianquan Kingdom offers an unexplored secret realm as a reward. But you need to get into the top 50 in the Hundred Kingdoms competition to get the qualification to enter that secret realm. Hearing Emperor Li Azur's words, Lu Juyuan also became curious. What level of secret realm could actually make so many dynasties willingly send their geniuses to enter it? As if he knew what Lu Juyuan was thinking, Li Azur Emperor's eyes also brought a hint of seriousness, and then he spoke slowly. The resources in that secret realm are extremely rich. Even the earth-level and heaven-level treasures of heaven and earth are not in the minority. And the most important thing is that it is said that there is the inheritance of the celestial immortal realm powerhouse in that secret realm. Speaking of the powerful celestial immortal realm, Li Azur Emperor's face was full of fear. A person of that level was beyond their imagination. It is no exaggeration to say that the other party could wipe out the entire dynasty of Yuanwu Kingdom with one slap. Destroyed, even before Li Xuanren and others could react. Moreover, even Shouyuan, a terrifying being of that level, could not interfere. It is said that Shouyuan has reached a terrifying billions of years and can survive the death of countless Li Xuanren. The means are even more powerful, and they are in existence that Li Azur Emperor and others cannot imagine. After hearing Li Azur Emperor's words, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but have a trace of yearning in his eyes. Celestial Immortal Realm Master, he didn't know how long it would take him to reach that level. What Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that Lu Shixian was still on his way back to Yuanwu Kingdom at this time. Of course, that's just a rumor. After all, if it was really the inheritance of a powerful person in the Celestial Immortal period, I'm afraid Tianquan Kingdom would have swallowed it up long ago. But even so, the treasures in it are still extremely rich. Brother Lu, if you can enter it, just plunder the resources. Li Azur Emperor smiled and said, while Lu Juyuan nodded. I will. But at this time, Lu Juyuan thought of the previous map, and he didn't know when he would find a secret realm that matched that secret realm. By the way, what's the name of that secret realm? Lu Juyuan asked curiously before going back, while Li Azur Emperor said word for word. That secret realm is called the Immortal Burial Secret Realm. The places for this 100 Nations competition have all been allocated. In Tianquan Kingdom, King Tianquan was looking at the ministers below with an indifferent expression and said, and he could see that King Tianquan's body was filled with a peak of human immortal cultivation. The ministers below are basically at the integration stage or even the transcending tribulation stage. It can be seen that the strength of Yuanwu Kingdom is much weaker in comparison. Your Majesty, we have already spread the news, and they all said they will definitely come to participate. A minister at the peak of transcending tribulation stood up and said respectfully, and King Tianquan nodded with satisfaction after hearing this. Yes, the matter regarding the 100 Kingdoms competition has already been dealt with. After all, it involves the secrets of the Immortal Burial Secret Realm. Speaking of the Immortal Burial Secret Realm, a hint of fanaticism appeared on King Tianquan's face. He has been stuck at the peak of human immortal for 2,500 years, so naturally he wants to break through to the Earth Immortal stage. It is said that there is the inheritance of the powerful people in the Celestial Immortal stage in the Immortal Burial Realm. If he can get it, he might be able to break through to the Earth Immortal stage. It's just a pity that there are restrictions on the Immortal Burial Secret Realm, which can only be opened once every 10 years, and only monks under the age of 30 can enter it. From the beginning, King Tianquan planned to let the young talents of Tianquan Kingdom enter, but unfortunately, they did not find them. As time passed, King Tianquan could only mobilize the 5-tier nations around Tianquan Kingdom and hold a competition of 100 nations, allowing their geniuses to enter and search for the inheritance of celestial immortal power. First, even the top 5th-rate forces will not be opponents of Tianquan Kingdom, making it easier to control. Secondly, this can also be used to make them more convinced of Tianquan Kingdom. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. After hearing the words of King Tianquan, the minister below stood up and sighed. Your Majesty, the rumors of the Immortal Burial Secret Realm have been circulating for a long time. We have spent tens of thousands of years trying to confirm it, but we have not found a trace. Is it still necessary to continue? King Tianquan just stood up and sighed. Although I know that the probability is very small, as long as there is a glimmer of hope, I will not give up, and the 100 Kingdoms competition is by no means an unreasonable move. If you can recruit some good seedlings for our Tianquan Kingdom, it will be our Tianquan Kingdom's great fortune." Hearing King Tianquan's words, the ministers below all nodded thoughtfully. They couldn't control so much. After all, His Majesty's strength was there, and they couldn't interfere. After all the ministers went down, King Tianquan came to the palace and looked at the distant mountains, which was the secret realm of immortal burial. "Immortal burial Taoist, I will definitely find your inheritance, for sure." Lu Juyuan didn't know what happened. After leaving the palace, he went straight back to Qingshan Garden, looked at Long Aoshan and said, "In 3 days, you will follow me to Tianquan Kingdom." Faced with the sudden news, Long Aoshan's face was full of bitterness. "Young master, can you not go?" Obviously, Long Aoshan is not a master who likes to show off. Rather than being arrogant and domineering, he would rather stay humble and wait until he becomes stronger before coming out. "No, you must go on this trip," Lu Juyuan said with a serious face. "Just kidding, that's the Tianquan Kingdom. Maybe you can meet many powerful people who are attracted to Long Aoshan, and then use excuses to make them hostile to him. His background is not the same. Can you become stronger?" Although he didn't have much fear of the 8th Thunder sect, there was still a hostile force still alive, and Lu Juyuan couldn't sleep. Okay. Under Lu Juyuan's tough attitude, Long Aoshan could only agree, but with the Thousand Ghost King and Senior Lu Chengsheng's protection, there shouldn't be any big problem. As for Xiao Huang, Lu Juyuan did not intend to take him with him. Firstly, Xiao Huang's current strength was too low, and it took him so long to break through to the late stage of Qi training. The second reason is because today's Long Aoshan is much more precious than Xiao Huang, so just bring one with you. Lu Juyuan soon returned to his retreat room. After all, although he claimed to be invincible within the Gold Core period, who knows if there will be any monsters such as reborns in the 100 Kingdoms competition. Therefore, to be on the safe side, Lu Juyuan thought that he should practice a few more techniques in these 3 days to ensure that he could enter the secret realm of immortal burial. Anyway, with his top-notch understanding talent, he can practice the technique much faster than others. It is no exaggeration to say that with Lu Juyuan's current background, he has already mastered hundreds of immortal arts and martial arts. After Lu Juyuan entered the retreat room, Long Aoshan also began to refine the dragon essence and blood with all his strength. His current state is in the late gold core, only 1 step away from the peak. In these 3 days, he will try his best to reach the peak of gold core. The same is true for Li Tian and others. Although they can be regarded as absolute geniuses in Yuanwu Kingdom, they also know that the entire Emperor Zan continent is now huge, and it is normal for a few people to appear more evil than them. So after leaving the arena, they also returned to their respective residences and began to adjust their status. Try to improve your strength a little more within 3 days. And soon, 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. At dawn, Lu Juyuan opened his eyes in the solitary room, and an invisible breath burst out in his body. "Yes, in the past 3 days, I have cultivated all 5 Earth-level martial arts to the peak, and my strength has become a little stronger. I guess this time the 100 Kingdoms competition should be stable." Lu Juyuan felt his current situation and said with satisfaction on his face. After all, with his current strength, he should be sure to win the 100 Kingdoms competition. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan took a step down and appeared outside the retreat room the next second. When he saw Long Aoshan again, Lu Juyuan was also a little surprised. "I didn't expect that Long Aoshan actually broke through to the peak of Gold Core, and Long Aoshan who broke through to the peak of Gold Core was probably the strongest person in the entire team except himself. But now is not the time to think about this. I saw a huge flying boat arriving in front of Qingshan Garden. Little friend Lu, it's time to hit the road." A hearty laugh came from the flying boat. When he raised his head and looked up, he saw Li Xuanren appearing on the deck and laughing. He didn't know when he came out of seclusion. Naturally, Lu Juyuan would not hesitate and looked at Lin Zhiling and warned. "When I'm not at home, remember to take care of things at home." "Okay, master." Lin Zhiling nodded and agreed, and then Lu Juyuan looked at Long Aoshan and said, "Let's go, carry me up." As Lu Juyuan finished speaking, Long Aoshan's body in front of him continued to grow larger, and Lu Juyuan jumped onto Long Aoshan's body with a slight jump. Under the control of Long Aocean, one person and one dragon soon arrived on the flying boat. After landing on the flying boat, Long Aocean's body slowly became smaller and turned into a mini dragon lying on Lu Juyuan's body, on the shoulders. Li Xuanren knew that Lu Juyuan had a real dragon mount, so he was naturally not too surprised. On the contrary, Li Tian and others had shock on their faces. You must know that they are the true dragon clan, a clan that cannot be ignored in this Emperor Zan continent, and they even say that true dragons will never be slaves. But now, they actually saw a true dragon becoming Lu Juyuan's mount. So, how terrifying is Lu Juyuan's background? Uncle Li. After Lu Juyuan appeared, he smiled and greeted Li Xuanren. At the same time, he also noticed that Li Qingping was also on the flying boat, and both of them smiled in unison. Well, the time has come. It's time for us to leave. After all, Tianquan Kingdom is extremely far away. Even if I travel at full speed, it will still take 2 days, so let the flying boat take us there. Anyway, the 100 Kingdoms competition is still it will be held in 5 days. Li Xuanren explained, while Lu Juyuan bowed. Listen to Uncle Li. Set sail. Following Li Xuanren's order, the monks on top of the flying boat started to move the flying boat with all their strength. In just a blink of an eye, the flying boat disappeared from the eyes of Lin Jilling and others. Seeing Feizhou leaving, Lin Jilling's heart was full of longing. She didn't know when she would be as beautiful as the young master and the others. But now she is only in the gold core stage. It is still very early to reach Lu Juyuan's level. After getting into the flying boat, Lu Juyuan also saw that Li Tian and others had been waiting in the flying boat for a long time. But what Lu Juyuan didn't expect was that he saw a familiar figure in it. Brother Lu, I didn't expect it was really you. A sturdy figure standing next to Chen Yuan said with emotion, while Lu Juyuan also said with some surprise. Xiao Ti, I didn't expect to see you here. After all, he didn't expect that Xiao Tibai could come out so quickly after joining the tyrant sect. However, there was a man named Lu Guan in his Lu family who also had a diamond body, and under the guidance of Lu Chengsheng now that he has reached the foundation building stage, how can Xiao Ti's talent be so low? Chapter 71. You guys know each other? Chen Yuan said with some surprise. No wonder when he went back and told his master Lu Juyuan's name after being defeated, Li Tai standing aside was full of surprise. But what he didn't see was that his master's expression changed even more. After all, the name Lu Juyuan had become a nightmare-like existence in his mind. Well, before I entered master's sect, brother Lu took care of me. Li Tai said sincerely that after seeing Lu Juyuan embarking on the path to immortality, he was naturally happy for Lu Juyuan. He didn't care at all why Lu Juyuan became rich. He only needed to know that Lu Juyuan was still Lu Juyuan. So you are Xiao Ti's senior brother? Lu Juyuan also said with some surprise, while Li Tian and others on the side also looked a little shocked. Obviously, they did not expect that Chen Yuan actually had such a relationship with Lu Juyuan. The next second, Chen Yuan said excitedly, well, fellow Taoist Lu, I am Li Tai's senior brother. Let me tell you, in the tyrant sect, we care about Xiao Tai. After all, if he relied on Xiao Ti's relationship to establish a good relationship with Lu Juyuan, he would be on his lap. Seeing Chen Yuan's greetings, Li Tian and others who were standing aside finally couldn't hold it in anymore, and they all came up one after another. Come and say hello to Lu Juyuan. Hello, brother Lu, I am Li Tian, a disciple of the Sword Breaker. Nice to meet you. Hello, brother Lu, I am Zhang Chengfang, the Sword Master of the Sword Immortal Sect. I wonder if you can come to my Sword Immortal Sect as a guest when you are free. We will definitely welcome you. Brother Lu, please ignore them. I am Chen Yisan, the chief of the Crazy Sword Sect. Our Crazy Sword Sect really wants you to visit us, brother Lu. Go away. If brother Lu wants to be a guest, then our Piaomiao sect is the most suitable one. After all, there are many extraordinary-looking female disciples in our Piaomiao sect, and they are all eager to get to know and communicate with brother Lu in depth. Ichiban. Hearing the last voice, several geniuses cursed in their hearts for being shameless for using beauty to seduce, and they were extremely worried that Lu Juyuan really couldn't hold it anymore. When Lu Juyuan heard this, he said with a serious face, Hey, comrade, this is wrong. We are all fighting for immortality. How can we choose to slack off our time for such a lascivious life? You know your thinking is wrong and needs to be corrected. Hearing Lu Juyuan's answer, Shu Shirui, a disciple of the Piao sect on the side, looked ashamed, and Li Qingping smiled unconsciously when she saw this, just for the next second. If I have time, I will go and take a look. As a true genius, I feel it is necessary to curb this kind of behavior. Lu Juyuan said with a serious face. No one could tell that there was anything wrong at all, but they always felt that something was wrong. Oh, then Brother Lu is welcome to come and visit when you have time. Shu Shirui said excitedly. Look, she is not bad in appearance, but she cannot catch Lu Juyuan's eyes. In addition, there is Li Qingping standing next to Lu Juyuan at this time. She didn't dare to say that she was beautiful in front of Li Qingping, but although Li Qingping was beautiful, there was only one Li Qingping. If she brought out hundreds of beautiful fairies, how would Lu Juyuan resist them? But we are a little curious, which force does Brother Lu come from to be so powerful? After all, they also investigated Lu Juyuan's origins in the past 3 days, but could not find out anything. After all, they were all wiped out by Li Xuanren. How could they find out easily? This move also made them more curious about Lu Juyuan. This is a secret, but based on what you have heard, you should have heard the legend of my power in the Emperor's Zan continent. Lu Juyuan pretended to be mysterious and said, after all, there would be nothing interesting if you reveal your trump card too early. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, several people couldn't help but think of turbulent waves. There are quite a few forces that can be heard throughout the Emperor's Zan continent, and they must have at least an immortal king-level powerhouse to achieve this. In other words, the forces behind Lu Juyuan at least have an immortal king-level powerhouse at their command. Seeing their expressions, Lu Juyuan just smiled and didn't explain too much, leaving them to guess. Maybe one day the Lu family can really achieve what they want. Okay, you go and have fun, I still have some personal matters to deal with. After Lu Juyuan said that, he pulled Li Qingping, who was still in a dazed state, to somewhere on the flying boat. Li Xuanren, who saw this scene, did not stop him. How could it be his turn to stop someone who was in love with her? On the contrary, he was eager for something to happen between Lu Juyuan and Li Qingping, so that Lu Juyuan could come to propose marriage openly and honestly. On the other side, with everyone's surprised eyes, Lu Juyuan pulled Li Qingping to somewhere in the flying boat. Why did you follow me here? Lu Juyuan asked curiously. After all, isn't it true that only geniuses can go there? Isn't it because people want to go there and see the world? Li Qingping was about to say that it was because of Lu Juyuan that she followed him, but after all, it was because of the shyness in her heart that she changed her words. How could Lu Juyuan not hear it? She smiled and said, if you follow me out, then stay with me when the time comes. I will protect you. Li Qingping nodded weakly and said, and Lu Juyuan was also a little surprised at this time. He could feel that Li Qingping's realm had stabilized at the early stage of Gold Core, and it seemed that he would soon be able to break through to the middle stage of Gold Core. However, it was not a surprise that she broke through so quickly because I gave her a rabbit leg in the first place. Chen Yuan on the other side came to Li Tai and said excitedly, Junior brother, I didn't expect that you actually know Brother Lu. Do you know Brother Lu's background? After all, judging from the tone of the exchange between the two, it seemed that the relationship between Lu Juyuan and Li Tai was extremely extraordinary, but Li Tai just shook his head and said, I'm not very clear about Brother Lu's origins, but I met Brother Lu in a mine. Brother Lu seemed extremely miserable back then. Hearing Li Tai's words, Chen Yuan and others' faces were also full of surprise. Obviously, this was completely different from the current situation. I understand. Brother Lu was probably sent by the family to hone his skills, and the time came not long ago, so Brother Lu resumed his current life. After all, I have seen this kind of situation many times. Most of them are geniuses from powerful forces who are sent out to hone their skills for later training. Chen Yi thought of something and suddenly realized it, and after hearing his words, the others couldn't help but show their faces. After all, judging from the current situation, there seems to be no explanation that makes more sense than this. Lu Juyuan didn't expect that his situation would be defined by them in this way, but he didn't care too much about their thoughts. After all, Lu Juyuan himself didn't bother to explain. In the past 2 days, the flying boat was seen flying towards Tianquan Kingdom at an extremely fast speed, its speed even surpassed that of ordinary transcending tribulation monks. After all, it is Li Xuanren's exclusive car, and its grade is naturally not low, reaching high grade. During this period of time, Inland Juyuan was not idle, and he took the opportunity to practice the 3 heavenly low-grade immortal arts to the peak level. He had many skills and was not overwhelmed. According to Lu Juyuan's philosophy, as long as he learned it, he would be useful one day. When Lu Juyuan came out, they had already arrived in a prosperous country, and this was the Tianquan Kingdom. Let's go. Flying boats are not allowed in Tianquan. Let's go down. Li Xuanren looked at the geniuses who had already come out and said, and they nodded, and then jumped down and slowly landed on the ground. Li Xuanren stretched out his hand, and the next second the huge flying boat continued to fly. It shrunk and soon became the size of a palm, which was put into the storage ring by Li Xuanren. Take it out when needed and quickly return it to its original size. Let's go. The next step is to wait inside for 3 days. Li Xuanren said slowly, and then led Lu Juyuan and others towards the city gate of Tianquan Kingdom. Before arriving at the gate of Tianquan Kingdom, Lu Juyuan and others could not help but be a little surprised. In their eyes, the height of the gate of Tianquan Kingdom in front of them was even built to a level that was difficult to leap in the gold core stage. The soldiers who were guarding the city gate had all reached the nascent soul stage, which was terrifying. You must know that in the Yuanwu Kingdom, the soldiers guarding the capital were generally in the foundation establishment stage. In comparison, the gap between the 2 countries cannot help but be revealed. Let's go in first. After entering, there will be an area for the 100 Kingdoms competition. Li Xuanren explained that after all, he had come many times, so he naturally knew the specific rules of the 100 Kingdoms competition. In the Tianquan Kingdom, the residences of each dynasty during the 100 Kingdoms competition have long been prepared, and basically every dynasty invited by the Tianquan Kingdom will come to participate. After all, if you don't come, there is a risk of offending the Tianquan Kingdom. Moreover, the allure of the immortal burial secret realm is still a little bit, and it can attract a large number of monks to participate. Soon, after paying 9,000 middle-grade spirit stones, Lu Juyuan and others were able to successfully enter Kamdo, the capital of Tianquan Kingdom. Then, under the leadership of Li Xuanren, they soon came to a luxurious housing area. This was the residence prepared by the Tianquan Kingdom for the dynasties participating in the 100 Kingdoms competition. But before they had time to enter their residence, a strange voice came from one side. Hey, isn't this Li Xuanren? Why, you lost so miserably last time, do you still have the nerve to do it this time? Everyone looked along the sound and saw an old man with a long face and beard appearing in front of them, but for some reason he looked extremely unbeatable. Several people could tell that this person probably didn't have a good relationship with Li Xuanren. As expected, Li Xuanren just sneered after seeing the other party. You don't need to interfere with my affairs. It's just that I have conquered a lot of your country. I guess your country will fall soon, King Huhuang. The opponent was none other than King Huhuang, the leader of the Huhuang Kingdom who launched a war in the north of the Yuanwu Kingdom. After hearing what Li Xuanren said, King Huhuang's face was obviously gloomy. After all, what Li Xuanren said was not a lie. Especially under the heroic leadership of Li Qingshan and Li Qingfeng, Huangguo was retreating steadily and already looked defeated. HMPH, this time, I think you are going to lose again. After all, your Yuanwu Kingdom's ranking last time was not very good. King Huhuang sneered, and after saying that, he walked towards their residence without giving Li Xuanren the slightest chance to react. Behind King Huhuang, there were 5 monks with extremely strong auras following them. They must be from Huhuang Kingdom. A monk who came to participate in a competition. Uncle Li, they are dead this time. Lu Juyuan walked to Li Xuanren and said calmly that he likes to be real and doesn't push too much. If he meets someone from Huangguo, he will kill him. Li Xuanren also smiled happily after hearing Lu Juyuan's words. The man just now is the leader of the Huhuang Kingdom. You should also know that the war between the Huhuang Kingdom and our Yuanwu Kingdom has been ongoing recently, and it has lasted for more than 100 years. It's just because the high-end combat capabilities of both sides have not come to an end. Otherwise, the war would have ended long ago. During these 100 years, hundreds of millions of soldiers from both sides have been killed in battle. Of course, most of them were in the Qi refining realm, while soul formation and the like were much less, only a few thousand. But even so, it still seems extremely amazing. Uncle Li, you are joking. You have now broken through to the Mahayana stage. As long as you take action, I am afraid that Huangguo will definitely be defeated. Lu Juyuan shook his head and said, Yuanwu Kingdom now has 2 Mahayana stages. As long as Li Xuanren and the sky-swallowing python take action, Huangguo is nothing. You still don't understand the pros and cons. You just saw the surface. Huangguo has a backer behind him. Otherwise, I would have exposed the cultivation level of Mahayana stage long ago. Li Xuanren smiled bitterly and said, after all, he also knew that Huangguo's backer was a third-rate force, even more terrifying than Tianquan Kingdom. Hearing this, Lu Juyuan just smiled and didn't say anything. After all, no matter how powerful his backer is, can he still be strong? Li Xuanren wouldn't believe what he said to Li Xuanren, so it would be better to let time prove everything. Let's go, you go and settle in first. After all, you need to stay in Tianquan Kingdom for almost 2 months. Li Xuanren said to everyone that the 100 Kingdoms competition alone would take about half a month, and entering the Immortal Burial Secret Realm would take about a month. This time with Lu Juyuan here, Li Xuanren was not worried that they would not be able to enter the top 100. Moreover, Li Tian and others are not weak either. They are all invincible beings in the same realm. Even if they say they can't get in, they won't believe it even if they say it. After Li Xuanren and others entered the residence, King Hu Huang in the distance looked at Li Xuanren and others with a gloomy expression. It was obvious that he didn't know what he was thinking in his heart. In the past 2 days, many fifth-rate dynasties have also led their dynasty's geniuses to Tianquan Kingdom. After all, the Immortal Burial Secret Realm is still very attractive to most powerful people. Among them, there are many treasures of heaven, materials on earth that are marketable and priceless, and are naturally extremely precious to them. After everyone settled down, Li Xuanren gathered them together again. I think you all know the rules of the 100 Kingdoms competition. Li Xuanren looked at them and asked solemnly, while Lu Juyuan was confused. He really didn't know the rules of the 100 Kingdoms competition. At this moment, Li Tian spoke. Before coming over, he had already learned the rules of the 100 Kingdoms competition from Xie Zhanxian. Well, the 100 Kingdoms competition is divided into 3 stages. The first stage is a single-player battle. As the name suggests, it is a competition to test personal combat power. In single-player battles, contestants from each dynasty will be randomly matched with another dynasty. The single-player battle is a round-robin battle, and promotion will be considered until all opponents fall. The second stage will be a round-robin battle, where the new dynasty will be matched again, and then all the geniuses will join together, until the other side is eliminated and is considered to be promoted. As for the final third stage, everyone will enter the secret realm arranged by Tianquan Kingdom to hunt monsters, and the final champion will be determined based on the points obtained from the final hunt of monsters. Hearing Li Tian's words, Li Xuanren couldn't help but nodded and smiled. Well, that's true, but you need to pay attention to one thing. In the final third stage, it's not just the monsters that need to be careful, but the more terrifying ones are the monks. Li Xuanren's solemn expression also made them couldn't help but nod. Everyone who has cultivated to the peak of gold core naturally knows that Taoist has a sinister heart. Only Lu Juyuan had a calm expression. These were nothing to him. If they dared to attack Lu Juyuan would let them know the terrifying combat power of 999 gold cores in minutes. Since you all know the rules, I don't need to say more then. There are still 3 days until the 100 Kingdoms competition begins. During this time, you can wander around inside. You can also retreat. I have other things to do. It needs to be dealt with, and you can arrange the remaining time yourself. After Li Xuanren said that, he turned around and walked outside. He needed to register the information of Lu Juyuan and others for the 100 Kingdoms competition 3 days later. After Li Xuanren left, Chen Yuan and others looked at Lu Juyuan expectantly. What's wrong? Lu Juyuan said with some confusion, while Li Tian said with great interest. Brother Lu, you are now the strongest person in our team. It is obvious that you should lead us at this time. Although no one said it explicitly, everyone knew that Lu Juyuan's combat power was undoubtedly the strongest among them. In less than a minute, they blasted out dozens of late-stage gold core monks without harming them at all. This feat alone convinced them of Lu Juyuan. Coupled with the mysterious background, it is obvious that no one is more suitable to be the boss of their team than Lu Juyuan. After hearing their words, Lu Juyuan also became thoughtful, thinking about the pros and cons, but in the end he found that there seemed to be no pros and cons. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan said directly, "In that case, just spend 3 days wandering around Tianquan Kingdom. Anyway, you can't practice much in 3 days. It's better to relax. Maybe it will have miraculous effects." After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, they naturally had no idea of rejection. After all, their current combat effectiveness is here, how much can they improve in just 3 days? But they soon realized that they seemed unfamiliar with Tianquan Kingdom. If they wanted to play, where would they go? Lu Juyuan naturally noticed this and said with a slight smile on his face, "Don't worry, I have naturally thought of this. If we are not familiar with each other, wouldn't it be enough to find an acquaintance?" "What does Brother Lu mean?" Chen Yixin asked curiously before she could react. Li Qingping, who was standing next to Lu Juyuan, gave her a roll of her eyes. "Are you stupid? If we are not familiar with each other, then wouldn't we just spend some spiritual stones to find a tour guide from Tianquan Kingdom?" Chen Yixin suddenly realized this, while Li Tian and others said excitedly, "If that's the case, let's set off quickly." After all, they have never left the Yuanwu Kingdom in their entire lives, so they are naturally extremely interested in the Tianquan Kingdom. And the Emperor Zan continent is so big, even if the immortal emperor wants to cross the Emperor Zan continent, it would take a minute, which shows how huge the Emperor Zan continent is. Even the immortal emperor takes a minute to cross, let alone their gold core stage. They will never be able to reach it in their lifetime, or in other words, they won't even be able to get out of Tianling state. Hey, this matter is not urgent for the time being. It is almost evening now. Plus, everyone has been on the flying boat for 2 days, so they definitely need a rest, so wait until tomorrow morning to go out and have a look. Good night, everyone. Lu Juyuan waved his hand, turned around and walked into the room he chose. As for Long Aotian and Qiongui King, they had their own rooms. "Well, since Brother Lu said we will go tomorrow, let's go tomorrow." Zhang Chengfeng was a little surprised, but the leader among them was Lu Juyuan. If Lu Juyuan didn't go, they couldn't guarantee that something would happen in Tianquan Kingdom. Soon they returned to their rooms one after another. Only Li Qingping was still there, standing in front of Lu Juyuan's door and hesitated for a long time, but finally returned to his room. On the other side, Li Xuanren quickly came to a tall building in the night, and this was the royal palace of Tianquan Kingdom, Tianquan Palace. Before arriving at Tianquan Palace, Li Xuanren soon saw an acquaintance and greeted him warmly. "Fellow Taoist Zhang, I haven't seen you for a long time. It seems that you are about to break through to the middle stage of Mahayana." Standing in front of Li Xuanren was an old man wearing a green shirt and a long white beard. He was Zhang Dao, the minister in charge of the 100 Kingdoms competition of the Tianquan Kingdom. It turns out to be fellow Taoist Li. "Hey, I didn't expect that in just 10 years, fellow Taoist Li would break through to the Mahayana stage. It's really gratifying." After hearing Li Xuanren's words, Zhang Dao raised his head and saw that it was Li Xuanren. After taking a closer look, he discovered that Li Xuanren had actually broken through to the Mahayana stage. You know, the last time Li Xuanren was at the peak of transcending tribulation. It's just a coincidence. It's not worth mentioning in front of fellow Taoist Zhang. Li Xuanren said humbly. After all, Zhang Dao is from Tianquan Kingdom, so he should not be underestimated by Li Xuanren. "Okay, let's talk about the congratulations later. You are here to register the talent of your Yuanwu Kingdom." Zhang Dao saw Li Xuanren's intention at a glance, so he asked curiously. "Looking at your expression, it seems that a good seedling has appeared in your Yuanwu country." Zhang Dao guessed his thoughts. Li Xuanren just smiled and said instead of telling how powerful Li Xuanren and others were. "It's not really good, but it shouldn't be a problem if you get into the top 100. Soon, Li Xuanren registered the information of Lu Juyuan and others with Zhang Dao, and then left. "If that's the case, then I won't disturb you, fellow Taoist Zhang, and take your leave first. Li Xuanren disappeared after saying that, while Zhang Dao picked up the information registered by Li Xuanren and looked at it thoughtfully. These 4 are pretty good, but what the hell is the last one? Is Li Xuanren starting to mess up? Zhang Dao looked at the last person on the list submitted by Li Xuanren and saw that it was Lu Juyuan. It's just that Zhang Dao really doesn't know what kind of shock Lu Juyuan will bring to him. After Li Xuanren on the other side returned to his residence, he saw that Lu Juyuan and others had entered the room and started to rest. Li Xuanren just shook his head when he saw this, and then entered his room. He would not go out for the next 3 days. After all, after breaking through to the Mahayana stage, he needed to slowly convert the spiritual power in his body into immortal energy. Li Xuanren still has spiritual power in his body now, so it will take a little time to convert. But time came to the next day in the blink of an eye. On the second day, Li Tian and others couldn't wait to open the door of the room. They waited for a long time before Lu Juyuan opened the door of his room. One by one, it's so early. Lu Juyuan was a little surprised, but he didn't expect that they were waiting for him at his door. Well, brother Lu, let's go quickly. I really want to see the sights of Tianquan Kingdom. Chen Yuan said impatiently, while Lu Juyuan walked slowly to the door of a room, opened the door without hesitation and went in. Aoshan, let's go. Following Lu Juyuan's order, Long Aoshan, who was refining dragon blood, could only helplessly open his eyes, and then turned into a mini dragon coiled on Lu Juyuan's shoulders. Brother Lu, what are you doing? Li Tian looked at Long Aoshan on his shoulder with some curiosity. When I go out, I like to take my pets out to see the world. It's normal. Lu Juyuan said seriously, and everyone suddenly realized that Li Qingping and Li Tai had already gotten up. Juyuan, brother Lu, let's go. Li Qingping and Li Tai were also a little curious. After all, this was Li Qingping's first visit to Tianquan Kingdom, and Li Tai had simply never seen such a luxurious scene. Now that you are all ready, let's go. Lu Juyuan smiled and then walked towards the door. The Thousand Ghost King on the other side had also secretly followed Lu Juyuan. After they went out, they saw monks coming out one after another from the surrounding gardens. After all, it was their first time to come to Tianquan Kingdom, so they naturally wanted to experience it. Hello brothers, I'm from Wudang country. I wonder if I can get to know you. Just when Lu Juyuan and others came out, a fat man with a somewhat honest appearance walked out from the villa next door to them. In Lu Juyuan's perception, the other party's cultivation level was also at the peak of gold core. After all, if you can participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition, how low your cultivation level can be. Feeling that there was no hostility on the other side, Lu Juyuan would naturally not give him a cold look. Lu Juyuan shrugged his shoulders and said, but Li Tian and others naturally didn't say anything when they saw Lu Juyuan's statement. Li Tian, Zhang Chengfeng, Chen Yuan. After hearing what Lu Juyuan and others said, the fat man in front of him also said with a smile. Let me introduce myself again, my name is Wu Quanchai. I think you guys also want to have fun in Tianquan Kingdom. How about we go together? Wu Quanchai said quickly. It was obvious that he really wanted to play with Lu Juyuan and others. Where is the genius of your dynasty? Chen Yisin asked curiously at this time. They are all addicted to cultivation. I just came out because I felt bored. Wu Quanchai said helplessly. After all, he couldn't focus on practicing. Li Tian and others all looked at Lu Juyuan. After all, only Lu Juyuan could agree here. Lu Juyuan thought thoughtfully for a moment and then said, is this the case? Then just follow us. After all, he could feel that Wu Quanchai was not hostile, and on the contrary, he could feel that Wu Quanchai was deliberately making friends with them. So he wanted to know what Wu Quanchai wanted to do. After Lu Juyuan agreed, a smile appeared on Wu Quanchai's naive expression, and he took the initiative to speak. It must be your first time to come to Tianquan Kingdom, and so am I. If not, how about you let me find a guide? Anyway, I still have some spiritual stones. Lu Juyuan and others did not refuse. It is reasonable to pay a little for following them. Soon, under the leadership of Wu Quanchai, Lu Juyuan and others were able to successfully find a suitable guide. Do you want me to lead you? When the guide was found, he said with some surprise that she was a woman with only the cultivation level of the early stage of foundation building and she looked like she was only in her 50s. Well, it's our first time to come to Tianquan Kingdom, so we want to find a local to guide us and see what interesting places there are in Tianquan Kingdom. Wu Quankai nodded and said seriously, and then said quickly. Don't worry about the spiritual stones. This spiritual stone will be regarded as your reward. After Wu Quankai said that, he threw out a storage bag, and after taking the storage bag, the woman used her spiritual sense to detect the number of spiritual stones in it, and she couldn't help but gasp for a moment. There are probably tens of thousands of low-grade spiritual stones. Thinking of this, the guide quickly put on a smile and said, Yes, of course you can. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Kai Xinlian. You can call me Xinlian. You are going to play for 3 days, so I will take you to the more interesting places in Tianquan Kingdom. Quote, under the temptation of so many spiritual stones, Kai Xinlian will naturally not refuse. Just kidding, the low-grade spiritual stones here have reached 100,000. It is definitely not a small number for her. Let's go, Brother Lu. Wu Quankai turned to look at Lu Juyuan and said with a smile, which made Lu Juyuan also curious about why Wu Quankai was so nice to him, as if he knew him. But Lu Juyuan didn't think too much about it. Maybe the other party saw his talent. Or did he just want to be friends with him? Seniors, let's go this way. At this moment, Kai Xinlian walked forward, and Lu Juyuan and others could only follow quickly. But what few people didn't notice was that Wu Quankai, who was following behind, had a look of shock in his eyes. Hey, what a lot of luck, if you follow him, you will definitely take off. Wu Quankai thought excitedly, and in his eyes, Lu Juyuan's body was filled with terrifying golden light, and even Lu Juyuan's figure was almost obscured by the golden light. Originally, Wu Quankai was just an ordinary little monk, but by chance, he got a magical book called The Art of Watching Luck, and after practicing it, he could see the luck of others. Relying on this magical skill, Wu Quankai got to know countless people with strong luck, and he was also infected with some of their luck, so that he could break through to the peak of gold core before the age of 30. When he was going out, he happened to meet Lu Juyuan. After turning on the luck observation technique, he was immediately shocked by the terrifying luck in Lu Juyuan. Lu Juyuan's body was covered with dazzling golden light, and the luck of Li Tian and others standing beside him had also reached golden level, but they were not as powerful as Lu Juyuan. Apart from Li Tian and others, the ones with the strongest luck are Li Qingping and Li Tai. Their luck can even reach 1/10 of Lu Juyuan's, which shows how much favor they have received from Lu Juyuan. Because of this, Wu Quankai chose to be friends with Lu Juyuan without hesitation. Just kidding, your luck watching technique can help you strengthen your own luck when you are on good terms with people with strong luck. And luck, although invisible and intangible, does exist. Seeing that Lu Juyuan and others were about to disappear, Wu Quankai quickly followed them. Seniors, don't you know what your usual preferences are? On the way, Kai Xinlian asked, after all, there are so many things to play in Tianquan Kingdom, and you need to know the preferences of Lu Juyuan and others in order to prescribe the right medicine. Me, I like fighting. Chen Yuan said without hesitation at this time that he himself was a fighting maniac and naturally liked fighting, while Li Tian and others did not have any hobbies. If you have to say it's a hobby, I don't know if practicing counts. In that case, there is a place called the Death Arena in Tianquan Kingdom. In it, you can choose to place bets or fight. If you don't mind, you can go and have a look. Kai Xinlian thought for a while and said, Lu Juyuan would naturally not mind. Soon, under the leadership of Kai Xinlian, several people arrived in front of a splendid building. This is the Death-Seeking Arena, and in front of the entrance of the Death-Seeking Arena are 2 tiger monsters from the Soul Formation stage, which shows that the Death-Seeking Arena has a profound foundation. After entering, Kai Xinlian said slowly, the owner of the Death-Seeking Arena is an early-stage human immortal powerful man named Zhang Wuchen. The reason why the Death-Seeking Arena is called the Death-Seeking Arena is because this powerful man is invincible in the same realm and wants to there is no one in the same realm who can defeat him, so the dual field under his hands is called the Death Arena. Hearing Kai Xinlian's words, they were also a little surprised. They did not expect that the Death Wish Arena had such a history, but they were more frightened by Zhang Wuchen. That is the power of the human immortal stage. Only Lu Juyuan's face was calm. He was only in the human immortal stage, so why should he be afraid of it? Well, brother Lu, I want to go up and play. Chen Yuan looked at Lu Juyuan to ask for Lu Juyuan's opinion. Lu Juyuan had not yet spoken, but Li Tian and others also spoke. I also want to go up and have a look to see what the strength of Tianquan Kingdom's geniuses are. After all, seclusion cannot improve your strength, but fighting can. So they all wanted to go up and see what level of gold core monks there were in Tianquan Kingdom. After all, the geniuses from Tianquan Kingdom had won the first place in the previous sessions, so they wanted to see it. How powerful are the gold core monks in Tianquan Kingdom? You want to go up there to compete? Then you must be careful. It is said that in the past few days, many talented people who have come to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition have come to fight in the Death Wish Arena, hoping to hone their practical experience. Kai Xinlian, who was standing aside, persuaded with some hesitation, but this could not stop Li Tian and others at all. We are here to participate in the 100 Nations competition, so it wouldn't be a bad thing to see their strength in advance. Chen Yisun said without hesitation, but Lu Juyuan was the leader of the team. If he didn't agree, they would be embarrassed to go up. But what they didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan said after thinking for a moment. If that's the case, then I'll step in as well. By the way, in the Death Wish Arena, is there a reward for winning in a row? Thinking of something, Lu Juyuan turned to look at Kai Xinlian. After thinking about it for a while, Kai Xinlian finally remembered and said, yes, there was an unwritten rule in the Death Wish Arena, that is, if you win 20 games in a row, you will be accepted as a disciple by Zhang Wuchen. When she said this, Kai Xinlian couldn't help but have a look of yearning on her face. After all, it was a powerful person in the human immortal stage. If he was accepted as a disciple, his future achievements would at least be able to break through to the transcending tribulation stage. Is this like this? Forget it, let's go up and play. Lu Juyuan was a little disappointed when he heard this. After all, in his opinion, he was just a human immortal and was not qualified to guide him. In other words, no one was qualified to guide him. Just kidding, top-level savvy is kidding you. At this time, Lu Juyuan has reached a flawless level in the early stage of Gold Core. He has even perfected his martial arts and other skills. Turning to look at Li Tian and others, they saw some astonishment on their faces. It was obvious that they did not expect Lu Juyuan to play in person. After all, they knew that Lu Juyuan's true state was at the early stage of Gold Core. But he was able to effortlessly eliminate all the talents who were at the peak of Gold Core in the later stage. Can anyone really defeat Lu Juyuan in the early stage of Gold Core? Lu Juyuan naturally thought of their inner thoughts, so he smiled and said, don't worry, I will ask them to add some requirements. If he were in the Gold Core stage, there would naturally be no pressure on Lu Juyuan, so Lu Juyuan planned to ask the people in the Death Wish Arena to give him monks who would go directly to the Nascent Soul stage. After all, only the monks in the Nascent Soul stage can make Lu Juyuan serious, and the Death Wish Arena can open the handicap. If you play the Nascent Soul stage in the early stage of Gold Core, normal people would think that the Nascent Soul stage will win. This is also a sure profit deal for the Death-Seeking Arena. As for how to convince them, you only need to do a little bit. Let's go and register. After all, just like the 100 Kingdoms competition, you need to register before being scheduled to play. Seeing that Lu Juyuan didn't look like he was joking, Li Tian and others could only bite the bullet and follow. My little friend, are you sure you are serious? The staff of the Death Wish Arena couldn't help but feel dumbfounded after hearing Lu Juyuan's request to become a Nascent Soul monk. Not bad. Any questions? Lu Juyuan raised his eyebrows and asked. Naturally, the staff member would not refuse, but he had some doubts. Can the Lu Juyuan in front of him really reach the Nascent Soul stage and the Gold Core stage? After Lu Juyuan released his own aura, it was indeed the initial stage of Gold Core. But for some reason, Lu Juyuan's aura was much thicker than the ordinary initial stage of Gold Core. It seemed stronger. Li Tian and others who were traveling with him also completed the registration quickly. After the registration was completed, the staff told them their serial numbers, from 20th to 24th, among which Lu Juyuan was the 20th. This means there are 19 more people ahead of us. Chen Yuan asked curiously, and Lu Juyuan was the first to speak. No, this means that besides us, there are already 19 contestants today. But I am curious, how many people are there in front? Well, there are 3 more people. After 3 people, it will be your turn. The staff member said quickly and then looked into the distance. Over there is the preparation room of our Death Wish Arena. You go there and wait. I will send your information here, and you can also place your bets. Like the Tianyang Coliseum, the main source of income for the Death Arena is the opening of the market, which is not limited to spectators, but contestants can also participate. Under the guidance of the staff, Lu Juyuan and others quickly arrived at the windowsill where the judgment was opened, and saw that their order had been marked below, and their opponents were also marked. Interesting, are my odds so high? Lu Juyuan said with some surprise that his opponent was Yuan Yingqi, and if he could defeat Yuan Yingqi, the odds would be astonishing, 1 to 100. You must know that this is a $100 loss. If you buy 100 low-grade spiritual stones, you can get 10,000 low-grade spiritual stones. But it's normal to think about it. After all, my opponent is in the nascent soul stage. If I can defeat him, it will be a big deal. As for Li Tian and others, their opponents are all gold core peak opponents. They do not believe that they can defeat the monks at the nascent soul stage. Although they are geniuses, they did not say they must before such a big leap. Possibility of victory. After all, not everyone is as terrifying and perverted as Lu Juyuan. How big a bet can you accept here? Lu Juyuan looked at the staff in front of the window and asked, but the other person just glanced at Lu Juyuan and others before speaking. It can accept up to 100 million high-quality spiritual stones. After all, if you place too many bets, even the Death Wish Arena cannot afford to pay. Therefore, when Zhang Wuzhen created the Death Wish Arena, he created a rule that he would not accept bets of more than 100 million top-quality spiritual stones. Note, at most you can only bet 100 million of the best spiritual stones. When Li Tian and others didn't know what Lu Juyuan wanted to do, Lu Juyuan casually took out a storage ring and threw it in front of the window. There are 100 million top-quality spiritual stones here. Give them all to know. 20. Lu Juyuan's calm expression made people think that what was in it was just 100 million low-grade spiritual stones, while the staff, Li Tian and others were all stunned on the spot. Obviously, they didn't expect that Lu Juyuan could actually take out 100 million of the best spiritual stones. You know, those are the best spiritual stones. Even Wu Quankai, the richest man here, could only spend 10 million of the best spiritual stones. After seeing Lu Juyuan's decisive bet, Wu Quankai did not hesitate at all and directly spent all his wealth. I have 10 million top-quality spiritual stones here. Bet me the number 20 to win. How come you are so rich? Li Tian said with some disbelief. Why are there such big differences among people of the same age? You must know that Li Tian only has 100,000 top-quality spiritual stones in his pocket now, which he saved after working hard for a long time. After seeing the expression on Lu Juyuan's face, for some reason, they all chose to believe in Lu Juyuan. Thinking of this, Li Tian and others took a deep breath and took out all their wealth to bet on Lu Juyuan's victory. A bunch of lunatics. The staff couldn't help but gasped, but he could only accept them all and gave them a voucher. After the battle, they could come here to collect their spiritual stones. On the other side, the news that Lu Juyuan was going to fight Yuan Yingqi soon reached the ears of all the gamblers present, and they all couldn't help laughing. That kid thinks he can defeat the nascent soul stage. Did he overestimate himself or underestimate the Yuan Ying stage? No matter what, go ahead and place your bet. Although the odds are a bit low, only 1 to 1, but this is a surefire business. Tisk, 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 I'm afraid we'll see a good show now. After hearing the news, the gamblers present did not hesitate to bet that Lu Juyuan would lose. Only Li Qingping and Li Tai chose to believe that Lu Juyuan could win, and they all bet that Lu Juyuan would win. Not long after Li Tigang started cultivating immortals, he didn't have many spiritual stones, only 10 million middle-grade spiritual stones, but he suppressed them all without hesitation. This shows how much he trusts Lu Juyuan. On the other side, the news that Lu Juyuan was going to fight against the nascent soul stage also reached the ears of the owner of the Death Wish Arena, the early boss of Human Immortal, Zhang Wuyin. It's interesting, I actually tried to defeat the nascent soul stage with the early stage of Gold Core. Even I couldn't do it at the beginning. Could it be that this kid's talent is far greater than mine? Zhang Wuzong opened his eyes in his cave mansion and said with interest, and then his terrifying consciousness also noticed Lu Juyuan waiting in the preparation room. At the same time, Lu Juyuan looked in the direction of Zhang Wuyun as if he felt something, which made Zhang Wuyun couldn't help but be surprised. You have to know that even the Mahayana stage may not be able to feel his prying eyes. Is it a coincidence, or is this kid himself from an extraordinary background? But no matter what, this is enough to show that this kid is definitely not simple. If that's the case, then I need to go and see this battle. If possible, I must take this kid under my command. Zhang Wu prayed secretly in his heart. After all, he could defeat the nascent soul stage at the early stage of Gold Core. If nothing unexpected happened in the future, it would not be a big problem to break through to surpass the human immortal stage. At the same time, he also saw the Thousand Ghost King next to Lu Juyuan, and he couldn't help but be surprised. After all, the background of the Thousand Ghost King was clearly visible in his eyes, and he was an absolute demon Dao monk. But Zhang Wuchen knew that this world does not distinguish between right and wrong, and emphasizes the supremacy of the strong. There are also several demon Dao immortal emperors in the Emperor Zan continent, but no one has seen anyone attacking them. Lu Juyuan's actions attracted the attention of Li Tian and others. What's wrong, Brother Lu? Zhang Chengfeng asked curiously, while Lu Juyuan shook his head. It's okay, it's just an illusion. But I have already made a conscious decision in my heart. If nothing unexpected happens, the situation here has been noticed. When we come to fight in the Death Wish Arena, the opponents arranged are basically the people from the Death Wish Arena, so the next ones we will fight are the people from the Death Wish Arena. In addition, the weapons used in battle have no grades, and elixirs cannot be used. Once used, it will be judged as a loss. While waiting, Li Tian obtained the rules of the Death Wish Arena from one side. Lu Juyuan and others also nodded after hearing this, although they had never used pills that were harmful to the body. After all, everyone's talents are there. In the future, they will at least be in the transcending tribulation stage. Taking forbidden pills for the sake of temporary victory and damaging their talents is not worth the gain. Watching the two middle-aged men waiting in the preparation room slowly walk out, soon it was Lu Juyuan's turn. After hearing the sound of number 20 coming on stage outside, Lu Juyuan slowly stood up and faced him. Walk outside. Brother Lu, come on. Our entire fortune depends on you. Li Tian and others couldn't help but said excitedly. After all, 100,000 spiritual stones was nothing to Lu Juyuan, but in their eyes, it was hard-earned money that they had to save for several years. Well, don't worry, they won't be my opponents. Lu Juyuan turned around and gave them a look, and they felt relieved. They must have had their own confidence in Lu Juyuan's daring to do this. After all, it seemed that Lu Juyuan had not yet shown his full strength that day, and he eliminated so many people in less than a minute. And as Lu Juyuan walked out, what greeted him was not cheers, but jeers. Where did the boy come from? Isn't he just more handsome? Don't think that you can defeat the nascent soul stage with the Gold Core early stage. It's better to hurry up and save time. Get out of here, kid, don't stop me from making money. Tisk, 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 this guy has a good skin, he is qualified to be one of my cauldrons. Lu Juyuan's immortal appearance made many women and even strong men have other thoughts. If there is a real immortal in the world, Lu Juyuan must be the only one. Lu Juyuan naturally didn't bother to pay attention to them. He would let them know what cheating was later. Li Qingping and Li Tai, who were sitting in the audience, couldn't help but look solemn after seeing Lu Juyuan. They believed that Lu Juyuan was still the same, but it was inevitable to be nervous when Lu Juyuan went up. Lu Juyuan didn't know this. He quickly came to the center of the arena. He raised his head and looked around. He saw that the size of the arena reached dozens of square kilometers, and a formation was set up here. Enough to withstand the combat attacks of the transcending tribulation stage. Opposite Lu Juyuan, stood a strong man who was 3 meters tall. He looked at Lu Juyuan with disdain and said, "Boy, you'd better go down on your own, otherwise, I'm afraid I'll accidentally beat you to death later." Lu Juyuan had already learned the opponent's name when he placed the bet before. It was called Zhang Quni. He was a monk in the early stage of nascent soul and should not be Lu Juyuan's opponent. After all, With the 999 Chaos Gold Core in his possession, Lu Juyuan would have declared suicide if he could not defeat a small nascent soul stage. I do hope you can attack with all your strength, otherwise, I'm afraid you won't be able to block a single move and you'll be eliminated by me later. Facing Zhang Quni's provocation, Lu Juyuan said calmly. Such arrogant words made Zhang Quni frown, and he also had a lot of murderous intention towards Lu Juyuan in his heart. After all, it's called a death-seeking arena, and there are only two ways to end the battle, either surrendering voluntarily or being killed. It was obvious that Zhang Quni planned to kill Lu Juyuan directly. Game start. Following the referee on the scene, a monk at the peak of his body gave an order, and Zhang Quni disappeared from the spot the next second. When a lion fights a rabbit, he also uses all his strength. Although he said he was contemptuous of Lu Juyuan's calm expression still made Zhang Quni feel a little uneasy. So just in case, after the referee announced the start, Zhang Quni did not hesitate to take action with all his strength. In front of absolute strength, there is no need for any magical skills. In the blink of an eye, Zhang Quni appeared in front of Lu Juyuan and punched Lu Juyuan with all his strength. The huge fist could even reach Lu Juyuan's head. If he punched him, I'm afraid Lu Juyuan would be blown to pieces. As the fist got closer and closer to Lu Juyuan still didn't make any move, which made Zhang Quni couldn't help but wonder if Lu Juyuan didn't react at all. But the most important thing right now is to eliminate Lu Juyuan first. As for the punters sitting in the stands, they roared with excitement when they saw this scene. After all, most of them had beaten Zhang Quni to win. Li Qingping and Li Tai both clenched their hands involuntarily, and the expressions on their faces showed their inner tension. Only Zhang Wuchen could feel that Lu Juyuan had not made a move yet. As the huge fist got closer and closer to Lu Juyuan, and when it was about to hit Lu Juyuan finally moved. Lu Juyuan slowly stretched out his left hand and calmly caught Zhang Quni's fist. The huge power did not even affect Lu Juyuan's body, and it all looked like Zhang Quni couldn't do it. Only Zhang Quni could feel that he had attacked with all his strength. It is no exaggeration to say that even an early Yuanying monk in the same realm might not be able to block it so easily. From this point of view, how do you feel that you are in the early stage of Gold Core? You take action, it's my turn next. Before Zhang Quni could react, Lu Juyuan spoke. With just one kick, Zhang Quni's body was kicked away and hit hard on the edge of the arena before stopping. The punters in the stands could not help but froze on the spot, but after a while they became angry and kept cursing. Are the Death Wish Arena treating us like fools? Even if you are acting, don't act so fake. Death Arena, is this a spiritual stone that you want to deceive us? After all, no matter how you look at it, it looks like Zhang Quni is letting it go. This is a proper fight against match fixing. Only the person involved knows that this is not a match fixing at all, but that Lu Juyuan is really too strong. Zhang Wuchen, who was watching all this from a distance, couldn't help but take a breath of air. He could accept that it would be difficult for Lu Juyuan to win, but he couldn't accept that Lu Juyuan defeated Zhang Quni. This kid has the appearance of an immortal emperor. Even if he can't be accepted as a disciple, he must definitely make friends with him. Zhang Wuchen thought solemnly in his heart, no one would believe him who could defeat the early nascent soul so easily at the early stage of Gold Core, even if he said he would not become an immortal emperor. Li Qingping and Li Tai couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief after seeing this scene, and Li Tai was also a little curious in his heart. What kind of adventure did Lu Juyuan get? He was able to step into the world in just 2 months. Such a terrifying level. But being curious, he would not ask Lu Juyuan this question. They were good brothers, so Lu Juyuan had his own reasons for not telling him. After knocking Zhang Quni away, Lu Juyuan shook his head helplessly. It seemed that his strength was still too strong. Judging from the current situation, he might not have any rivals in the nascent soul stage. Only the soul formation stage can put a little pressure on myself. I think there is no need to continue the competition now. Lu Juyuan said calmly, while Zhang Quni on the other side had long been frightened by Lu Juyuan's blow. He could feel that Lu Juyuan did not attack with all his strength. In other words, if Lu Juyuan applied more force, he could kill him in minutes. Thinking of this, Zhang Quni said without hesitation, I surrender, I surrender. After all, judging from the current situation, if he didn't surrender, Lu Juyuan would really kill him. The referee on one side was stunned for a long time, but after reacting, he said with a complicated expression, "The winner is Lu Juyuan." As the referee's words fell, the gamblers present went crazy. Because they believed that Lu Juyuan would lose, they basically pressured Zheng Quni to win. But now that Lu Juyuan actually won, wouldn't this cost them all their wealth? Thinking of this, they all became angry. "You are actually fixing matches in the Death Wish arena. Aren't you afraid of King Tianquan's punishment? Can you please save some shame? Do you really think we are blind for such an obvious match fixing? Refund the money." Facing their anger, the referee couldn't help but frown. If they didn't handle it well, it would be their death-seeking arena that would lose their reputation. At this moment, a figure slowly fell from the sky, and there was a heart-stopping coercion exuding from its body. And with the appearance of this figure, the angry voices of the gamblers present suddenly stopped. Just because this person is none other than the founder of the Death Wish Arena, the boss of human immortal Zhang Wuchen, they still dare not make mistakes in front of Zhang Wuchen. "Are you asking for death?" Zhang Wuchen looked at the gamblers who had spoken out before and said calmly. Although he didn't do anything, the killing intent in his tone had already made many monks tremble. But there will always be monks with strong heads standing up. I saw a monk in the early stage of transcending tribulation standing up, taking a deep breath and bowing. "Senior Zhang, it's not that we doubt Death Arena, it's just that defeating the nascent soul stage in the early stage of Gold Core seems impossible." Faced with the monk's doubts, Zhang Wuchen snorted coldly, and then dropped his palm. The monk obviously did not expect that Zhang Wuchen would take action. Under the crushing force of the two great realms, the monk in the transcending tribulation stage did not have the slightest chance to react. He was directly killed by Zhang Wuchen with a palm, and his soul was destroyed. "HMPH, you're just an ant, how dare you doubt me in the Death Wish Arena? If I want to make money in the Death Wish Arena, I can just kill you." Zhang Wuchen's thunderous attack made the gamblers present tremble, fearing that Zhang Wuchen would kill them in the next second. After all, strength is paramount in Emperor Zan continent. Even if Zhang Wushu killed them, he would not stand up and speak for them. After killing the transcending tribulation stage monk, Zhang Wuchen said calmly, "If you doubt Lu Xiaoyu's strength, then you might as well come forward and experience it, but I can't guarantee the result." After hearing Zhang Wuchen's words, many people were ready to take action, but more people did not dare to take action. From these words, they could tell that if they took action against Lu Juyuan, they would suspect that they wanted to die in the arena. If Lu Juyuan lost, Zhang Wuyun would also kill them. "Little friend Lu, you probably won't refuse." Zhang Wuju turned around and looked at Lu Juyuan and said with a smile. Zhang Wuju's appearance also gave Lu Juyuan a slight shock, but soon Huang Wusheng came and said with a smile, "Now that Senior Zhang has spoken, how can this junior have any room to refuse? Let them all come up, but I can't guarantee their life or death." "That's natural." Zhang Wuchen also smiled and said, and as Lu Juyuan agreed, several nascent soul stage monks quickly jumped out. "Senior Zhang, if that's the case, then I'm willing to stand up and give this guy a try. If he's really that powerful, then I'll be convinced." "Me too, +1. Soon, a monk who was in the early stage of nascent soul jumped onto the ring and looked at Lu Juyuan with an angry look on his face. The expression on his face that he wanted to kill Lu Juyuan but was helpless was very useful to Lu Juyuan. "Little friend Lu, the rest is up to you," Zhang Wuzong said to Lu Juyuan and then disappeared, leaving only Lu Juyuan alone. After Zhang Wuchen left, the nascent soul stage monk planned to take action, but at this time Lu Juyuan spoke. "Send your name, I won't kill unknown people," Lu Juyuan said calmly, while the nascent soul stage monk said with a ferocious smile, Jia, listen up, the person who killed you is Kai Yuanying." After saying that, Kai Yuanying disappeared, and in the blink of an eye she was in front of Lu Juyuan, and kicked Lu Juyuan hard on the head. The next second it hit Lu Juyuan, but what he didn't expect was that his foot actually went straight through. "What? Is it an afterimage? When did it happen?" Kai Yuanying said in disbelief that he did not expect that Lu Juyuan could disappear under his eyes, and before he could react, a scorching temperature came from above him, making him tremble with fear. He raised his head and saw that Lu Juyuan had appeared in the air, and a purple fireball was condensing rapidly in Lu Juyuan's hand, and the power in it made him feel scared. Lu Juyuan cannot be allowed to successfully condense, otherwise, he will die. Demon Tang Thousand Branches Binding. The nascent soul stage monk shouted loudly and then slammed his hands down on the ground. The next second, the entire arena began to tremble, and tiny cracks were seen extending out of the ground. Boom, there was only a loud noise, and countless dark green vines spread out from under the ground and grabbed Lu Juyuan above the sky. At this time, Lu Juyuan was still condensing his world-destroying fireball. You are fast, but I am faster. Looking at Mo Tang, who is about to catch him, and then looking at the unknown liquid dripping on it, he knows that if he is caught, he will probably not end well. If he were an ordinary gold core, he would definitely be killed by this blow, and the other party would kill him, so Lu Juyuan would naturally not hold back. Although Lu Juyuan had no intention of holding back. Go! As Lu Juyuan shouted softly, a dark purple fireball appeared in his hand, with a diameter of even 3 meters. Is this a fireball technique? Why does it seem to be much more powerful than an ordinary fireball technique? Hiss, what a terrifying blow, I feel like I will definitely die under this blow. Is this guy really in the early stages of gold core? The gamblers in the stands said in disbelief. They naturally saw the power of the fireball in Lu Juyuan's hand. It is no exaggeration to say that even the monks at the peak of Yuanying could not stop it. Besides, this is not Lu Juyuan's strongest killing move. Lu Juyuan threw the fireball directly, and instantly collided with Mo Tang. In just a moment, Mo Tang, carrying the terrifying toxin, was directly burned to ashes before the high temperature of the fireball. No, the nascent soul stage monk finally felt desperate at this time and begged for mercy, but it was already too late. The terrifying fireball was like passing through uninhabited territory. Mo Tang could not stop it at all. In just a blink of an eye, the fireball hit the Yuanying stage monk. In just a few seconds, the monk at the nascent soul stage was burned to ashes, and not even the nascent soul could escape. At this time, the gamblers in the stands had already believed that there was no water in the Death Wish arena, but then they thought of something and couldn't help but take a breath of air. Being able to defeat the early nascent soul at the early stage of gold core seems to be quite easy. Does this mean that Lu Juyuan can also kill monks at a higher level? This made them doubt whether Lu Juyuan was the reincarnation of some great power. After all, how can an ordinary genius reach a great level in the early gold core stage and kill the nascent soul stage? On the other side, Li Qingping and Li Tai breathed a sigh of relief after seeing Lu Juyuan end the battle, but before they could recover, Lu Juyuan had already disappeared. The referee couldn't help but be surprised when he saw this scene, because it was Zhang Wuchen who took Lu Juyuan away. But he soon came to his senses. I am afraid that Mr. Zhang has taken a fancy to Lu Juyuan and will accept him as his disciple. Ahem, let's welcome contestant number 21 next. At this time, Lu Juyuan was also shocked by the sudden change, but a moment later he saw Zhang Wuyun appearing in front of him. At this time, Zhang Wuchen said with a smile, "Little friend Lu, I'm really curious now, where are you from?" It's not convenient to tell Senior Zhang about this. It's just that I'm from Yuanwu country. Senior Zhang just needs to investigate. Lu Juyuan said in a neither humble nor arrogant tone, but Zhang Wuchen started to think thoughtfully. He knew a little bit about Yuanwu Kingdom, but he didn't think much about it, and his face became serious as he looked at Lu Juyuan and said, "Little friend Lu, I think your talent is very good. I want to accept you as a disciple. What do you think?" When encountering such a good seedling, Zhang Wuchen would naturally not miss it. But Lu Juyuan shook his head and said with a smile, "Senior Zhang, I'm sorry, I have no such plan for the time being, and my elders can naturally guide me in my cultivation." Zhang Wuchen said anxiously at this time, "Little friend Lu, you must stop thinking about it. You must know that there is a huge difference between the human immortal stage and the transcending tribulation stage." Being able to sense the Thousand Ghost King who was with Lu Juyuan before, Zhang Wuju naturally thought that the Thousand Ghost King was Lu Juyuan's family elder. But Lu Juyuan still shook his head and said firmly, "Senior Zhang, I would like to thank you for your kindness in advance. It's just that I was born to like Shanyuhe. If I had a master, I would feel a certain amount of pressure. In this case, I'm afraid it would have a negative impact on my Taoist heart. There are obstacles, so please forgive me for not agreeing. Lu Juyuan had already revealed that his Taoist heart was blocked, so Zhang Wuzong naturally would not force it anymore, but said with a little loss on his face. If Lu Xiaoyu changes his mind in the future, you can come to me in the Death Wish Arena. My door will always be open for Lu Xiaoyu. If he really changes in the future, I will come to see Senior Zhang. If nothing happens, I will change and leave first. After Lu Juyuan said that, he bowed and turned around to leave. Zhang Wuchun was left alone, with his eyes wandering, not knowing what he was thinking. After walking out of the room, Lu Juyuan realized that this was actually the roof of the Death Wish Arena. He smiled bitterly before walking downstairs. Although the opponents faced by Li Tian and others on the other side were powerful, they were nothing compared to a few people. After providing them with some combat experience, they were eliminated by them. After seeing Lu Juyuan coming down, he said excitedly, "Brother Lu, your performance just now was really too detached. I really don't know how you practice. Yes, it will be difficult for us to fight in a small realm, let alone Brother Lu, you can actually kill enemies in a large realm. I declare that from today on, Brother Lu, you will be my idol, no one else." Facing the crowd's admiration, Lu Juyuan just smiled without explaining too much, and then led them to the windowsill and took back all their spirit stones. In a short period of time, their worth had increased 100 times, which made them all excited. So many spiritual stones were enough for them to break through several small realms. Wu Quanchai's eyes were even more excited. You must know that he suppressed 10 million high-quality spiritual stones, and in the blink of an eye, they turned into 1 billion high-quality spiritual stones. How could he not be excited? As for the elder in charge of handicapping, his eyes turned red after seeing them win so much. You must know that even he, a monk at the peak of transcending tribulation, does not have 1 billion of the best spiritual stones. If Zhang Wuchun hadn't given them the order, I'm afraid he would have been greedy and killed him. But what he didn't know was that if he took action, he would be the only one who died. After leaving the death-seeking arena, the sky had become a little dark. "Seniors, are you still playing today?" Kai Xinlian asked curiously. After all, Wu Quankai gave her so many spiritual stones, so naturally she would do things to the end. "Let's play for a while and go back later." Lu Juyuan waved his hand and said. At this time, the top-quality spiritual stones in his hand had reached a terrifying amount of tens of billions. With so many spiritual stones in hand, Lu Juyuan naturally wanted to spend them well. Is this like this? I do know that there is a place in Tianquan Kingdom where the night is extremely beautiful. If possible, I can go and see it. Kai Xinlian said after thinking for a while, and Wu Quankai also said with a smile on his face. If that's the case, then lead the way. Lu Juyuan did not hesitate and agreed, and soon, under the leadership of Kai Xinlian, Lu Juyuan and others came to a river, and Kai Xinlian slowly explained at this time. This river is called Wolmo River because if you look at the moon from the river surface, you can vaguely see that the river seems to be connected to the end of the moon, so it is called Wolmo River. And because of the beautiful scenery of Yumo River, many traders came here to do business. Over time, this place became a beautiful place in Tianquan Kingdom. After hearing Kai Xinlian's narration, everyone looked into the distance with some curiosity. They saw a bright moon hanging in the distance, and the pointed end did indeed look like it was connected to the Yumo River. "It's so lively here, Brother Juyuan, let's go play." Li Qingping looked at the lively scene of people coming and going and said excitedly, and then pulled Lu Juyuan away regardless of Lu Juyuan's opinion. Li Tian and others also laughed bitterly when they saw this, and then looked at Kai Xinlian and said, "You should go back first. We should go back after visiting the Yumo River today. Come meet us at number 13 courtyard of Longmo Mountain tomorrow." And this Longmo Mountain is where Tianquan Kingdom stayed during the dynasty competition arranged by Tianquan Kingdom to participate in the 100 Kingdoms competition. After hearing Li Tian's words, Kai Xinlian suddenly realized what she said, and then turned around and left. After Kai Xinlian left, Li Tian also looked at Zhang Chengfeng and others and said, "Now that it's over, let's take a stroll here." Zhang Chengfeng and others naturally would not refuse, and soon everyone started playing in the bustling streets. On the other side, like a little girl seeing a new world, Li Qingping pulled Lu Juyuan and started walking in the street. Lu Juyuan just smiled and let her go. After all, without Li Qingping's help, he might not have been able to leave the mine so quickly. Although it won't be long before he can leave, it is undeniable that Li Qingping helped him advance the time a lot. Juyuan, look, this thing is so fun. Li Qingping seemed to have seen something, so she trotted excitedly to a stall, where she saw many masks standing in front of the stall. Seeing this, Li Qingping picked up a cyan mask and put it on her face. Li Qingping looked even more unique with the mask on. Seeing this scene, the stall owner said with a smile, "This girl has really good eyesight. This mask is made of nether stone, and it was made by a well-known blacksmith. It not only looks good, but more importantly, it has functions. When you wear it, it can be used as a soul formation stage. Even the powerful ones cannot see the true face behind the mask." The stall owner looks like a 30-year-old middle-aged man, somewhat honest, but there is no such thing as honesty in the Emperor's Zon continent. Stall owner, how many spiritual stones does this mask cost? Lu Juyuan came over and asked. After all, he is not short of money now, so giving Li Qingping a mask is not a problem. This girl is really lucky. She has such a good Taoist priest. This mask is enough to block the prying eyes of the soul formation stage. Naturally, it's not cheap. But for the sake of our fate, I will give you 5 forget it, 1,000 pieces of high-grade spirit stones. The stall owner smiled and said. When the stall owner said that Lu Juyuan was his Taoist companion, Li Qingping's cheeks couldn't help but blush, but she couldn't see it because she was wearing a mask. Especially when Lu Juyuan didn't refute, his face was as red as a monkey's butt. But when she heard that 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones were needed, Li Qingping couldn't help but frown slightly. It wasn't that she lacked these 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones, it was just that she felt it was not worth it. But before she could speak, Lu Juyuan threw out a storage bag and said calmly, "Here are 5,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Please order them." The stall owner neatly collected the spirit stones, quietly tapped them with his spiritual consciousness and said with a smile, "This guest is so generous, so of course I won't doubt it. I'm just a little envious of this girl for having such a good Taoist companion." The stall owner's words made Li Qingping feel a little shy. Then she remembered something and asked curiously, "Stall owner, do you know if this mask has a name?" "A name? Of course there is no one. None of the masks in our store have names. The names of the masks are all named by their owners." The stall owner thought for a while and said, and Li Qingping breathed a sigh of relief when he heard this, and then looked at Lu Juyuan expectantly and said, "Juyuan, why don't you give this mask a name? After all, you paid for it. Here, it's up to you." Lu Juyuan smiled and declined. After all, his talent in naming was obvious to everyone. If he was asked to choose a name, I'm afraid the name would not sound good. Yeah, come on, I still want you to come." Li Qingping said coquettishly. Lu Juyuan was completely at his wits' end now. He looked at the mask carefully and saw dots of starlight carved on it. The lines in it seemed to have a different kind of magic power that made people attracted to it. Thinking of this, Lu Juyuan quickly made a decision in his heart, and saw Lu Juyuan say seriously, "In that case, let's call it the Star Demon Mask." Star Demon Mask. If that's the case, then it's called the Star Demon Mask. Li Qingping also nodded, and the stall owner on the side was naturally flattering. But at this moment, a voice came from the side. "Brother Wang, this mask looks great. I want this mask." When he heard this voice, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but frown slightly. Looking along the voice, he saw a group of monks walking towards them. The person who spoke earlier was a graceful-looking girl, who was seen leaning against a young man with a coquettish look on her face. After hearing what the girl said, the young man also smiled and said, Okay, beauty, if you want it, then why not give it to you? Hey, boy, I'm interested in that mask. Bring it to me quickly." Lu Juyuan did not move, he just looked at them coldly and then said, "Oh, are you talking to me?" At this time, Lu Juyuan also noticed that with the arrival of the young people, the surrounding monks deliberately stayed away from here with some fear on their faces. It seems that this group of people has extraordinary origins. Lu Juyuan thought secretly. At the same time, he could also sense that the strength of the monks who looked calm and confident around the young man in front of him was unfathomable. With Lu Juyuan's current background, he could sense the specific strength of even the monks at the soul formation stage, realm. Putting it this way, there is only one possibility. Those monks are at least monks above the void refining stage, but they can make so many people fearful. To be specific, they should be monks above the fusion stage. After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, the young man smiled instead of being angry. Boy, it seems that you don't know my identity. Let me say it again. I, Wang Tang, have fallen in love with your mask. Now, please bring it to me. Maybe I can give you a mask to follow me. Chance. Wang Tang said lightly. In his opinion, how could anyone in Tianquan Kingdom not know his name? It's just that Lu Juyuan did not know, but he knew that if anyone dared to provoke him, he would just kill him. Then I will give you a chance. Come here and kneel down to apologize. I can forget about this matter. Lu Juyuan said lightly, while Li Qingping's face behind him was full of worry. It was obvious that this was Tianquan Kingdom, and she was worried that Lu Juyuan would provoke some serious people here. So he took off his mask and said worriedly, Juyuan is just a mask. Why don't you give it to him? I don't lack this one anyway. What Li Qingping didn't notice was that a trace of greed appeared on Wang Tang's face not far away after Li Qingping took off his mask. It was obvious that he had a crush on Li Qingping. No, I gave this mask to you. It has a different meaning. If he wants it, he will pay for it with his life. Lu Juyuan turned his head and said seriously, and these words made Li Qingping's face turn red again, but at this moment, Wang Tang spoke. Ha ha ha, okay, I didn't expect to meet such a beauty when I went out for fun. Boy, I'm very embarrassed now. I not only want the mask, I also want the person wearing the mask. You guys, do it. Be careful, don't hurt my beauty. Following Wang Tang's order, the two strong men beside him walked towards Li Qingping aggressively. Li Qingping was a little scared when she saw this, but at this moment, Lu Juyuan stood in front of her and said calmly. Qiangui, come out to work. Yes, young master. The next second, the two monks felt something. They felt like they were facing a powerful enemy and said in disbelief. What, there are still masters? They were about to pull out the 1000 Ghost King, but in the next second, a burst of black mist appeared behind them. Before the two of them could react, the 1000 Ghost King put his hands on their shoulders. You two, being too arrogant is not a good thing. The King of 1000 Ghosts stuck out his head like a ghost and said calmly, and a huge sense of oppression was exerted on the two of them, which made the two of them feel extremely shocked. It turned out to be a powerful person in the middle stage of transcending tribulation. You must know that the two of them are monks at the peak of their integration, but in front of a mid-stage transcending tribulation, the two of them have no chance of winning. Thinking of this, the two of them can only give in. But Wang Tang didn't know this. After seeing the two of them being imprisoned by the 1000 Ghost King, his face became gloomy and he said angrily. Wang 4, Wang 5, why are you two just standing there? Kill him. Bring that woman back to me. I want to pamper her. At this time, Wang Si and Wang Wu were also in unspeakable pain. They could feel that if they moved, the 1000 Ghost King would kill them directly. At the same time, not far away, Li Tian and others also noticed the situation here. It's Brother Lu, let's go over and see what's going on. Li Tian gave the order, and soon everyone rushed here. Lu Juyuan said calmly after seeing Wang Si and Wang Wu being stopped by Qian Gui. Don't look at it, country bumpkin. Your people have been stopped by my guards. Don't you still see the current situation clearly? After hearing Lu Juyuan's words, Wang Tang's face became gloomy, and the beautiful woman standing next to him became a little scared when she saw something was wrong. But thinking of his own background, Wang Tang snorted coldly and said. So what, boy, do you dare to touch me? My father is a minister of Tianquan Kingdom, and his cultivation level is Mahayana stage. Do you dare to touch me? After saying that, Wang Tang's body burst out with an aura belonging to the gold core stage. As a descendant of Mahayana stage, he can cultivate to the gold core stage before the age of 50, so he naturally has his own arrogance. But what he didn't expect was that Lu Juyuan would not give any respect to his background. These days, who doesn't have any background? You must know that his ancestor Lu Chengsheng is a monk at the peak of Mahayana, and he can even kill the early human immortal, of genius. Naturally, he would not give Wang Tang face. Oh, what if I say no? Lu Juyuan said calmly, while Wang Tang's face was full of disbelief, but at this moment, several voices came. Brother Lu, what happened? Lu Juyuan raised his head and looked around. It was Li Tian and the others who had arrived belatedly. While Lu Juyuan was distracted, Wang Tang gritted his teeth and took out a talisman. Boy, we have a long way to go. After saying that, Wang Tang tore the talisman into pieces and disappeared, leaving only the beautiful woman who had been nestling in his arms shivering with fear. Teleportation charm, Lu Juyuan said thoughtfully, but he didn't care. It was just Wang Tang. What kind of trouble could he make? He would just kill him when he met him in the future. It's okay, I just met a few blind fools. Lu Juyuan said calmly, then looked at the Thousand Ghost King and said. Get rid of them, they've already done it anyway. Naturally, Lu Juyuan would not hesitate in the slightest when facing someone who wanted to take action. The expressions of Wang Si and Wang Wu, who were imprisoned by the Thousand Ghost King, changed as a result. Just when they were about to resist, the next second they directly after being completely absorbed by the Thousand Ghost King, the aura of the Thousand Ghost King became a little stronger again. When he saw the Thousand Ghost King's skills, Lu Juyuan couldn't help but frown. It seemed that it was time to help the Thousand Ghost King improve his skills. Although Lu Juyuan only has the early stage of Gold Core, don't forget that he has top-notch passive skills. As long as he takes a look at Thousand Ghost King's skills, he can see the shortcomings and improve them. But this is obviously not a suitable place. After all, it will take some time to perfect the technique, so let's wait until the 100 Kingdoms competition is over. The beautiful woman on the other side was so frightened that she shivered after seeing everyone on her side being killed. She was just a canary raised by Wang Tang. Her cultivation was only at the foundation building stage, otherwise she would have been killed by Wang Tang. Tang is playing to death. Brother, please let me go. You can do anything you want me to do. The beautiful woman said shiveringly, and slipped off her shoulder straps a little, while Lu Juyuan was naturally indifferent to this scene and said expressionlessly. Don't be stupid, sister-in-law, I won't kill women, you can leave. Hearing Lu Juyuan's words, the beautiful woman naturally thanked her brother quickly and turned around to leave. She had to leave Tianquan Kingdom, otherwise Wang Tang would never let her go even if she went back. But at this moment, a voice came from behind Lu Juyuan. Sorry, I didn't tell you to leave. Hearing this voice, the look of survival on the beautiful woman's face disappeared. The next second, a line of spiritual energy was seen coming from behind Lu Juyuan, directly killing the beautiful woman. And it was Li Qingping who took action. You are the one who caused this. Now you still want to escape safely. Do you think this is possible? Li Qingping's face was full of murderous intent. The cause of the incident was the woman's words, so Li Qingping would naturally not leave her behind. Seeing this scene, Lu Juyuan shook his head helplessly. Since Li Qingping had already taken action, he would not let Li Tian and others take action again. That's right, Lu Juyuan didn't intend to let the beautiful woman go from the beginning. Although he said he wouldn't take action, he didn't say he wouldn't let Li Tian and others take action. The beautiful woman was only at the peak of foundation building, but was forcibly promoted by Wang Tang. Otherwise, she might not be able to withstand Wang Tang's impact during exercise. Naturally, her foundation was not too strong, and she was killed by Li Qingping's blow. After killing the beautiful woman, Li Qingping looked at Lu Juyuan with some embarrassment and said, Juyuan, you won't be angry if I suddenly kill her, right? It's okay, I didn't plan to let her go anyway. Lu Juyuan smiled and touched Li Qingping's hair and said, but for some reason, Li Qingping's face turned red again. It seems that no matter in which world, head touching is very lethal. At this moment, Li Tian and others came to Lu Juyuan and said with some solemnity on their faces. Brother Lu, it's not advisable to stay here for a long time. It's getting late anyway, so why don't we go back first? Looking at the Tianquan Kingdom escorts arriving around him, and having almost finished playing today, Lu Juyuan nodded, and soon they left here. As for the belated convoy, no one knew the origins of Lu Juyuan and others, so the matter ended up being ignored. Back in Longmo Mountain, several people were still a little excited about today's events. After all, they had made a lot of money, but Li Qingping was the only one who looked worried. Li Xuanren on the other side had also come out of seclusion. After seeing the expression on his daughter's face, Li Xuanren asked curiously, "What's wrong, daughter?" Li Qingping sighed, and then told what happened today. At this time, Lu Juyuan and others happened to be present, and they had some disbelief on their faces after hearing Li Qingping's story. After Li Xuanren heard Li Qingping's story, the expression on his face became a little solemn, and then he looked at Lu Juyuan and sighed. "Little friend Lu, you shouldn't have taken action. What's wrong? Does Wang Tang's father have an unusual background?" Lu Juyuan asked without knowing why, while Li Xuanren sighed and said immediately, "Wang Tang's father is a worshipper of Tianquan Kingdom. His name is Wang Xiao. He is a monk in the late Mahayana period. Although he is nothing in front of senior Lu Chengsheng, Wang Xiao is backed by Tianquan Kingdom, so even if he is some of the early powers of human immortal should also give Wang Xiao some face." Hearing Li Xuanren's narration, Lu Juyuan also raised his eyebrows. It wasn't that he was afraid, but he suddenly remembered that the last passivity hadn't been triggered yet. Logically speaking, he should at least have a human immortal stage now. Ancestor is right. But after thinking about it, Lu Juyuan smiled and shook his head. "Uncle Li, it's just that the situation was critical at that time. That Wang Tang was about to kidnap Qingping and use it as a cauldron. How could I not take action?" Hearing that Li Qingping actually encountered such a thing, Li Xuanren's face became angry and he said angrily, "He dares. If he dares to do this, I will destroy him even if I blow myself up." Obviously, Li Qingping, as Li Xuanren's only daughter, is extremely noble in Li Xuanren's mind. If anyone dares to touch Li Qingping, even if it is the immortal emperor, Li Xuanren will kill a drop of his blood. "Don't worry, the other party doesn't know our names, and we didn't report our names. Plus, I believe this Tianquan Kingdom should be reasonable." Lu Juyuan smiled and said, and Li Xuanren could only sigh. Fortunately, he still had some connections in Tianquan Kingdom, so he should be able to avoid being retaliated by Wang Xiao. After this incident passed, Li Qingping excitedly told Li Xuanren what happened today in the death arena, which made Li Xuanren so angry that he regretted it. "If I had known earlier, I would have gone. You must know that it is 10 billion of the best spiritual stones, which is extremely important to the Yuanwu Kingdom today. Although he has broken through to the Mahayana stage, spiritual stones are still extremely important to him today. As for the immortal stones, Li Xuanren plans to consider getting some at a later date. After all, with his current strength, it is not difficult to get some fairy stones. Above the spiritual stone is the immortal stone, but the immortal stone is extremely precious, and the immortal energy contained in it is even more terrifying. Only by breaking through to the transcending tribulation and converting the spiritual power in the body into immortal power can the immortal energy in it be absorbed. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.